Natural politician, in case you haven't noticed, like my husband or President Obama.
The Democratic frontrunner was pressed in the Univision CNN debate about her private email server while Secretary of State asked if indicted, would she leave the race? Clinton said that's not going to happen. Sanders hit her for ties to Wall Street, urging Clinton to release transcripts of a speech to donors.
When you get paid $225,000, that means that speech must have been an extraordinarily wonderful speech.
That argument about money influencing this race is an important one since dozens of Democratic superdelegates are lobbyists, according to an ABC News report, and those superdelegates can deliver a win for Clinton even if she keeps dropping key swing states like Michigan.
Fox's Peter Doocy. Republicans debate tonight coming off 3 more Donald Trump victories.
We didn't win by a little bit. We won by landslides.
A new Fox poll gives Trump a 23-point lead in Florida over Marco Rubio, who says he regrets getting personal, attacking Trump on his hands and tan.
I'd do it differently. I really would.
Another Fox poll gives John Kasich a 5-point lead in Ohio, another winner-take-all state Tuesday.
I can bring people together, and that's what we need to do.
Former candidate Carly Fiorina now backs Ted Cruz. Lindsey Graham says Cruz is the most logical person now to stop Trump. Torrential rain keeps falling in parts of the South already deluged by a foot of rain or more. Houses underwater. People needed rescue in Louisiana. There's also flooding in Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. 3 people have died. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Cloudy skies, and right now we have 45 degrees at 5:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Hillary Clinton campaigns in the Chicago area today, gathering support ahead of next week's state primary. The Democratic presidential candidate is attending a Get Out the Vote rally in Vernon Hills. Republican candidates for president focused on the Illinois prize this week, with the primary looming. John Kasich telling an audience in Lisle that he has no intention of dropping out. He called the race a dead heat. Ted Cruz's wife Heidi appeared before the City Club of Chicago, saying her husband Ted is the only candidate who can beat Donald Trump. Chicago public school principals this morning have been told to stop spending because the district is short of the cash needed to keep operating for the remainder of the school year. Each of the district's geographic networks was given a savings goal with the hope of saving $45 million. District right now stockpiling cash to make a $688 million pension payment on June 30th. Former Chicago Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy speaking out publicly and lashing out, discussing the Laquan McDonald case and crime in the city of Chicago after his firing.
All the things that people wanted from police oversight and outside investigatory agencies exists. And at the end of the day, they didn't like the results. And somebody had to take the fall. Somebody had to take the hit. Hi.
McCarthy said he was the fall guy for the Laquan McDonald shooting. He noted that murders have gone up significantly since he was let go in December. An investigation continues after a man and woman were found dead in a Joliet auto body shop. The bodies of Michael Oram Sr. and Jamie Willis were discovered yesterday at Fleet Specialty Painting. Big changes coming to the CTA's train lines. The CTA board approved a more than $1 billion contract to replace about half of its rail cars. State lawmakers holding hearings on a plan to eliminate the state sales tax on feminine hygiene products. It would follow Pennsylvania and Minnesota, who have eliminated such taxes. Bears bolstering their defense with the addition of free agent linebacker Danny Trevathan on day 1 of NFL free agency, and the offensive line gets a little more solid as Bobby Massey is inked, heading from the Cardinals to the Bears front line. Not so good news for the Bulls and Jimmy Butler. He is scheduled to get a second opinion on his injured left knee from renowned surgeon Dr. James Andrews. Illinois lives another day in the Big Ten basketball tournament, pounding the Golden Gophers of Minnesota 85-52. Basketball season over for the DePaul men, beaten by Georgetown 70-53. Hockey last night, a couple of late goals by the Blues, forced extra time and then a shootout, and the Blues were winners 3-2. The news service of Invisible Fence. Protect your pets with Invisible Fence brand. Keep them in the yard and away from the fireplace and off the furniture. Invisible Fence brand has the answer to training your pets at invisiblefence.com. Now, Invisible Fence brand installs in any weather, rain or snow. Visit InvisibleFence.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
The fight for the Republican presidential nomination has gotten nasty.
I don't think I've ever had so many horrible, horrible things said about me in 1 week.
And with next week's primaries in Florida, Ohio, and Illinois make or break for the remaining candidates.
The winner of the Florida primary next Tuesday will be the nominee of the Republican Party.
You don't want to miss tomorrow night's final debate.
This is a battle to 12:37.
Coverage begins at 5 with the Joe Walsh Show, followed by exclusive debate coverage at 7 on your election station, AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
We begin with the scandal for the IRS.
Medicare fraud has become one of, if not the most profitable crimes in America.
Whew. Washington's a mess.
Boy, sure is.
Nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, maybe your representative's not, but my congressman's actually getting some results.
Who?
Peter Roskam. He's led investigations into the IRS scandals.
Really?
Yeah, even passed a law to stop the abuses.
Oh, yeah. I saw something on Fox where they called Roskam the man leading the charge.
Yeah, he's actually forcing some accountability.
It's about time somebody did.
Make a right at the light?
Okay.
Anyway, Roskam's great on Medicare, too. Yeah, he's got a solution to stop the fraud.
Huh. That could save us some money.
Sure would. It's an easy decision on March 15th. I'm voting for conservative Peter Roskam. He's actually getting things done.
Paid for by Roskam for Congress Committee.
I'm Peter Roskam, candidate for Congress, and I approve this advertisement.
5:07, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. And time to check the roads. We do that in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. And the latest with Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. On Chicago's southwest side, Pulaski has reopened between Cermak and 24th after an earlier apartment fire. We see early morning delays on the inbound ride after some overnight work and ongoing construction in the downtown area. Still stop and go from the Stevenson to past 18th. It's about a 3 or 4 minute delay. Outbound, it's clear. I-57 has a couple of ramp closures at 159, affecting the outbound side of I-57. Roadwork is planned today in Elmhurst and southbound 83 between North Avenue and St. Charles. Expect congestion there. Veterans Memorial Tollway southbound, the exit to westbound I-80 is closed due to a rollover tanker. Traffic is a service of ChicagolandJiffyLube.com. You don't have to make an appointment at Jiffy Lube. They now offer brake service at some of their locations. So if you need a high-quality oil change, brake service, or other preventive maintenance, Jiffy Lube has you covered. For a listing of Jiffy Lube locations that offer brake services, visit ChicagolandJiffyLube.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy and cooler with a high of 52. Then tonight, clouds will break with a low of 35. Tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy throughout the day with a high 55 and a mostly cloudy night, low 42. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
Currently 45 at O'Hare, 47 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And what we really want to do is to get blocks of companies to come together and put online an education program that if they complete it, that they will be guaranteed an interview with a company that is involved in putting the curriculum together. It's really cool.
If you get indicted, would you drop out?
Oh, for goodness, that is not going to happen. I'm not even answering that question. It is time to unite behind Ted Cruz, ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So tonight's debate, last debate for Marco Rubio.
Swan song tonight. Question I have for
Well,
Marco
we don't know
Rubio.
for sure, do we?
If he makes it to the debate tonight.
Oh, really? You think he might not even make it to Miami?
There were a lot more reports yesterday about money guys essentially fleeing Rubio, fundraisers that had to be canceled or dramatically scaled back in terms of expectations. There was a picture that Byron York from the Washington Examiner tweeted.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Was the wind blowing? You could see what was it?
No, it was a rally for Marco Rubio at a high school football stadium.
Oh, no.
Except it was shot.
The band wasn't there?
It was shot from the stands.
Oh, no.
There was no one in the stands on either side. The entire rally was in the end zone, one of the end zones.
Okay, stop it. I just got the chills. That is so embarrassing. And we've all been there. We've all emceed events or been to events where no one shows up, but the gig has to go on. But that is really bad. This is his home state of Florida. Don't tell me it was his alma mater.
I don't know if it was his alma mater, but it was in
not
Florida.
Have been.
The picture, the perfect caption for the picture was Donald Trump's safety. Because Marco Rubio has been tackled in his own end zone, and that's what that picture was like. So it is a bad place for Rubio. There's a Fox News poll out yesterday that has the race back around 20 points for Trump.
Trump 2-1 over Rubio, 45% to 22%. That's a huge gap to try and close in on.
Yeah, and it's not like Rubio has
cloudy and 34 degrees.
Hey, there it is again. Yeah. It's cloudy and 34.
That's good to know.
Okay.
Appreciate that interjection. There's not like there's any momentum for Rubio going into Tuesday either, right? I mean, all the discussion is he going to drop? Kasich in his dueling town halls on Fox News Channel that all the candidates did yesterday when he was interviewed by Greta said that he's meeting with Jeb, he's meeting with Marco in the coming days.
I heard rumors this morning around 3 a.m. that Jeb Bush is going to be endorsing Ted Cruz. That's what the ABC News pundit said early this morning.
The consolidation is continuing. Carly came out and said she voted for Ted Cruz in the Virginia primary, but she's doing a little bit more than voting for him now. She was at a rally for Cruz in North Carolina where she was back to being Carly and whipping up the crowd with very pointed lines.
Ted Cruz has always been a constitutional conservative. He is a fearless fighter and reformer, and he didn't much care whether he got invited to the cocktail parties in D.C. And so it is time now to unite behind the one man who can beat Donald Trump, who can beat Hillary Clinton, who can beat the D.C. cartel. It is time to unite behind Ted Cruz, ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States.
That was a pretty enthusiastic rally. Cruz is starting to generate significantly bigger crowds. He had in his sit down with Megyn Kelly as part of the dueling town halls on Fox yesterday. He was at North Carolina. It was a rally-type atmosphere. Compare that to the John Kasich interview with Greta, which was very subdued. It was more like a talk show.
It was a counseling session.
Well,
really, because he is hugger-in-chief. I mean, that's what he wants to be.
But now going back to Rubio,
he did
say,
come clean yesterday a little bit.
Well, he did say that to Megyn Kelly again on these dueling tunnels. No, I am not dropping out, fighting all the way through. We're going to win Florida, and he's saying that Florida, whoever wins Florida, is going to be the nominee.
Okay.
So then he agrees Trump is going to be the nominee.
Exactly, because there's no way he can make up that deficit. But he did come clean to Chuck Todd. Because remember the last debate when he and Donald Trump got into it and it got pretty ugly?
I have a policy question for you, sir.
Let's see if he answers it.
I will. Don't worry about it, Marco. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, little Marco. I will.
All right, well, let's hear Big Don.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, little Marco.
Gentlemen.
And he said that he had to explain to his kids, what happened because they were embarrassed for him. He was embarrassed, and he said that
he was embarrassed by being called Little Marco?
No, he was embarrassed by getting into it with Donald Trump.
That's something I'm entirely proud of. My kids were embarrassed by it, and I, if I had to do it again, I wouldn't.
So he regrets trying to out-Trump Trump.
That's okay.
Because it didn't work. And I think it might have affected him in the polls. I mean, he tanked right after that in all the 5 state primaries, but also, too, he didn't really show up in the states to campaign, and people aren't that stupid. They don't want to be taken advantage of. I mean, if you really want the job, show me that you want the job. Because he was my candidate, but I felt completely ignored by him.
Well,
he scheduled nothing in Illinois.
Well, here's a bit good news for Marco Rubio, because there's not much good news for Marco Rubio. Just in the nick of time, the Chicago Tribune endorsed Marco Rubio for president.
I saw that, and I didn't read the article because I knew you would for me. Why did they endorse him?
Well, I mean, they endorsed him because you can understand the arguments they'll make against Trump. I don't need to recite them. And the best argument the Tribune just says flat out, the Tribune cannot endorse Trump while he still holds a lead in delegates. The party is deeply divided. And they go through the customary arguments. They write, no candidate in this cycle has ridden more ups and downs than Marco Rubio. With so much attention paid to his quirks, many Republicans seem not to have noticed his fundamental GOP message of opportunity and uplift. They laud his tax plan, and they say, critically, his foreign affairs expertise vastly exceeds that of his rivals. We like his youth, his bilingual fluency, and the fact that he's one more Republican who's been standing in line. He isn't, one more Republican who's been standing in line awaiting his turn. So
Well, he'll do that
why.
next time.
Well,
he'll be standing in line next time after he becomes governor of Florida for 8 years. Then he'll run again.
You understand that the Tribune endorses. They'll only go so far as an establishment conservative. They will never endorse. I can't think of an instance where they endorsed an actual conservative.
Oh, someone like Ted Cruz. They've never endorsed.
I mean, don't forget, this is a Tribune editorial board that endorsed Barack Obama twice.
And what about Governor Blagojevich?
Twice. Blagojevich they endorsed
once.
I think they endorsed once. The first time
second
against Jim Ryan. Yeah, that's right. And the second time they held their nose and endorsed
We
Judy
could have had
Bartopinka, as we all
could
did.
have had Jim Ryan.
Interestingly, speaking of the Dem side, the Tribune, no endorsement on the other side. So at least they got that right. The Tribune writes,
They didn't endorse Hillary?
Neither.
Daughter of Chicago?
no. Maybe
Wow.
they're properly chastened from their experience endorsing other Chicago Pauls at the national level. They write, this being a free country, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are welcome to pander however feverishly they wish, promising vast new expenditures by a federal government already committed to wildly more spending than its taxpayers and low-growth economy can afford. And they go on from there. But that was the opener that suggests where they were going, which is no endorsement. So hat tip to them for restraining themselves and not giving some kind of, a backhanded endorsement to Hillary Clinton, much less to Bernie Sanders, neither of which deserve anyone's support for that matter, much less the Tribune.
Did you suffer through that last debate of theirs last night on CNN? It was a Democrata. It was a Univision CNN debate.
The thing that I found a bit disquieting about that debate is there were two Latino panelists.
And Jorge Ramos.
Right.
Yeah.
There's two of them, 2 out of the 3.
Oh, no.
We know from the networks that you're only supposed to have one Latino debate panelist. The token Latino debate panelist to ask the immigration question. They come out on a donkey with a sombrero on, and they ask the immigration question, and they're shuffled back off so the white people that have been at the networks for all these years can ask all the other policy questions. Isn't that supposed to how it works?
It didn't work out that way.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, mostly cloudy, cooler than we're used to, a high of 52 degrees. And tomorrow, Friday, sunny to partly cloudy, just a beautiful day, a high of 55. Let's see if there's any complaints on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. And Dan, good morning. On southbound 355, the Veterans Memorial Tollway, the ramp to westbound I-80 is blocked right now. There's a rollover tank truck there. I-57 outbound, a couple of ramp closures at 159th Street. The ramp from eastbound 159th to southbound 57 is closed. So is the ramp from westbound 159th to outbound I-57. Inbound Ryan, it's slow from 18th to downtown Chicago. It's a 2 or 3 minute delay. Inbound Bishop Ford, a little heavy approaching the Ryan. Work is planned today in Elmhurst. Southbound 83 from North Avenue to St. Charles, the 2 right lanes. That's scheduled to be in place today and tomorrow, so expect congestion in that area. Jim Talamonte, Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com. The following is a paid political announcement.
Do no harm.
It's an oath every doctor takes, and Dr. Nick Stella takes that oath very seriously.
Do no harm.
Obamacare is a disaster. Dr. Stella will fight to put healthcare decisions back into the hands of patients and doctors.
Do no harm.
With the threat of terrorism becoming an everyday reality, Dr. Stella will make national security a priority. And instead of arguing about problems, he'll focus on solutions.
Do no harm.
For too long, politics as usual has invaded Congress. As a practicing cardiologist, Dr. Stella's focus is for positive outcomes, an idea that's been lost in Washington. Washington insiders have failed us on all levels: the economy, jobs, national security, healthcare. Dr. Nick Stella has spent his career helping people improve their lives. Dr. Nick Stella will be the outsider voice we need in Congress. Dr. Nick Stella, Republican for Congress.
I'm Dr. Nick Stella, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Stella for Congress, Inc.
Discover Westmont, a community nestled in the heart of DuPage County. With top-notch schools, beautiful affordable housing, and excellent dining and shopping, Westmont makes a great place to live, work, and play. Choose Westmont. Discover how your business can flourish and grow with a wonderful central location providing rapid access to Chicago's key expressways, airports, and many family-friendly amenities. Add quick transportation on the Burlington train line, and that means simple and easy travel for everyone. Westmont is committed to working collaboratively with you to facilitate inquiries about your family or business relocation. We'll help your company navigate to Westmont for a great experience. Call Larry Forsberg at Westmont Economic Development at 630-824-9337. That's 630-824-9337 to find out about incentives that can help you plan your development, relocation, or expansion. Discover all Westmont has to offer. For more information, visit ChooseWestmont.com. That's ChooseWestmont.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, that's one guy I never got. I don't like Outkast.
Oh,
you like
are
him?
they still together?
I don't know. I think
Or
he's
has he
still
been
around.
outcasted? Yeah, he's all right. I don't know.
So tonight's debate, we're going to be in Libertyville, Austin's Fuel Room.
Yes, I can't wait. If we leave now, we may make it there on time.
I like that place. I stop there for a beer after I shoot sometimes because there's a sportsman's club.
I'm just glad you don't stop
in
there
Haynesville.
before
Yeah.
you go
No,
shooting.
that's not the preferred
Yes.
method. You don't.
So is it a nice place? I've never been.
Yeah, it's fun. It's nice. It's bar. It's big.
Yeah, we have a sold-out crowd tonight.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. And
Mm-hmm.
the question is, what will they witness from Marco Rubio and the others?
Oh, I think it's going to be boring tonight. Honest. Oh, sorry. You
No.
finished your sentence. But I think Marco Rubio has come clean saying, that tactic didn't work for me. I lost voters, and I'm going to be nice, Marco Rubio. And then if he's nice, and if Ted Cruz is, the aggressor, I don't know if that would fare well for Ted Cruz.
Well, I can tell you, according to Ted Cruz from his interview with Megyn Kelly in North Carolina last night, at least one topic will be off the table, and I think we can all be thankful about that.
You said the campaign has gone to the gutter. What do you make of it?
Well, listen, I think everyone is fed up with personal insults, with just ad hominem attacks. Listen, I have no views whatsoever on any part of Donald Trump's anatomy.
So at least
there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, so Trump's anatomy will hopefully be off the table tonight, so that's the good news.
Do you think Ted Cruz will encourage people to unite behind him and behind his campaign?
Well, sure. I think one of the things Cruz has going into the debate tonight is that he has that occurring. He has consolidation around him endorsements from Carly Fiorina and additions to his campaign, and it seems like more coming, telegraphing that at least some of his Republican colleagues in the Senate are going to endorse him, and perhaps before the debate. That would be timely. Well, but speaking of which, we've got Pastor Ted Cruz in studio at 8 o'clock today.
And Indiana Senator Dan Coats, because remember last time he was on the show, he had really nothing nice to say about Ted Cruz. I wonder if he's going to rally behind him.
Well, he's a Rubio backer still, I think. So we'll see.
The writing's on the wall for Rubio.
It seems to be.
I grieved him yesterday. I'm over him now. Now I'm starting all over.
But I think Cruz will make a direct appeal to Trump voters as he did yesterday. But the question is, what does Rubio do? Does Rubio stick to the script, knowing this is the end, and he knows it? Or does he try to offer something meaningful? Is he going to protect himself with an eye towards his next campaign, probably for governor of Florida in 2018? Or is he going to shuffle off the stage, leaving people with something to think about, maybe offering something that no Republican has offered?
Such as?
No Republican in leadership, no Republican in D.C. has offered. You know what I would do if I was Marco Rubio?
What?
I would apologize. I apologize like this. I would say, look, you know what? Republicans, since they've gained control of the House and Senate, we have not done all that we could have done, and we've done some things we shouldn't have. And I have too. And I take my share of the responsibility for what has and has not occurred over the last several years since we have become ascendant in Congress in stopping the big government unconstitutional gambits of the President of the United States and in failing to effectively communicate an alternative path that is just, we're not Barack Obama. So I'm going to take ownership of that and, kind of leave people with something where there's a recognition that things have not gone as well as they could have and should have gone. Rather than saying simply, I understand you're angry. And even if you don't intend to be patronizing, sometimes it comes across as patronizing. Yeah, I'm angry, but what I don't hear from you people across the board is any acceptance of responsibility for what's happened on your watch. You're doing the same dissociative dance that Barack Obama does, where you're an innocent bystander to your own administration. I think if he opened or closed with something like that and then offered kind of an alternative, optimistic path forward in terms of where the Republican Party needs to be and how we're going to learn from our failures over the last 2 or 4 years, I think that would enhance his standing significantly. Frankly, I think it might be his best path to try and close the deficit between him and Trump going into Tuesday.
Do you think Donald Trump or Ted Cruz will look at Marco Rubio and say, why don't you drop out? Like, put him on the spot?
No.
To make him feel uncomfortable?
I don't think so.
I would feel uncomfortable watching it, but I don't put it past Donald Trump to do that. Like,
no.
Little Marco, you need to leave.
Well, Trump has said that, if he continues to run, he's just going to hurt himself for his future, but it's 100% his decision. Who knows what Trump will say? That would be, I don't think that would be a helpful thing for any of the candidates to say. And oh, by the way, there's a lot of scuttlebutt going around. I mean, this is probably kind of more of the, fodder for pundits and Twitter. But Marco Rubio leaving the race at the end of the debate, his closing statement being his, you won't have Marco Rubio to kick around anymore type of thing. Not in that tone,
right.
But the idea that he would shuffle off and make the case against Trump as he leaves the stage.
And drop the mic. Good night, Miami.
Yeah, that would be Hollywood quality.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of your #1 home mortgage lender, Townstone Financial. I continue to get calls and emails from homeowners whose interest rates are above 4%. Please do yourself a favor. Take 1 minute. Dial 312-896-2111 or go to townstone.com and let us give you some no closing cost refinance options today. No closing costs means no hidden costs. I guarantee it, and I own the company. Remember, you don't have to restart your mortgage at 30 years or 15. We can customize the payback period. Also, if your home is worth less than what you owe, we still have the government HARP program, which will allow you to refinance and save money. And anyone who has an FHA mortgage or one with private mortgage insurance definitely needs to call me now so we can lower your monthly mortgage payments due to the recent increase in home values. The call is free and so is my time, so dial 312-896-2111. That's 312-896-2111, or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com. Townstone Financial is an Illinois mortgage licensee, 6629, and MLS 136639, equal housing lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, Dan, I'm looking at that picture now of Marco Rubio in the end zone with about a baker's dozen, well, maybe 40 people around him. That looks really bad.
Yeah, it's smaller than a high school football team, actually. Not a good moment for Rubio. There haven't been too many. Coming up at 5:37, Hillary Clinton asked if she will quit the race if she is indicted. She asserts her Fifth Amendment privilege on advice of counsel.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, we have 44 degrees, cloudy skies, and 5 are dead, 3 more injured in a shooting close to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It happened in the suburb of Wilkinsburg. 4 women and 1 man were shot and killed at a backyard barbecue. 2 suspects are still at large. There's been no word on what led to the deadly accident. Democrat presidential candidate Hillary Clinton says it's painful to see comments from voters who say she is untrustworthy.
I am not a natural politician, in case you haven't noticed, like my husband or President Obama. So I have a view that I just have to do the best I can, get the results I can, make a difference in people's lives.
During a debate in Miami, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders said he would use executive action on immigration.
And what I believe right now is not only that we need comprehensive immigration reform, if the Congress does not do its job as President of the United States, I will use the executive powers of that office to do what has to be done.
Sanders hoping momentum from his Michigan win carries over in Ohio and Illinois next Tuesday. Marco Rubio now saying he regrets his personal attacks on Donald Trump.
That's not who I am, and that's not what I want to be. And I want to be a good example. I want my kids to be proud of me, and I don't think it reflected well on my faith, and so I felt bad about that.
At a town hall event on Fox News last night, Rubio saying even though Trump deserved the attacks, it's not what he wants his campaign to be about. Indiana poised to become the second state to ban abortions, sought because a fetus has a genetic abnormality such as Down syndrome. A salmonella outbreak in 9 states linked to pistachios. The CDC says 11 have been sickened by the outbreak. Centers for Disease Control is also investigating that major bacterial infection outbreak in southern Wisconsin that's now linked to over a dozen deaths. Chicago public school principals have been told to stop spending. The district is short of cash needed to keep operating for the remainder of the school year. Federal judge hearing the dispute over the proposed Lucas Museum on the lakefront scolded the city of Chicago for being slow to provide documents to a lakefront protection group trying to block the project. The judge even pointed out it was the city who said last week that time was a factor. Chicago sports, Bears bolster the defense with the addition of free agent linebacker Danny Trevathan, and they bolster the offensive line, collecting Bobby Massey from the Arizona Cardinals. College basketball tournament action in the Big Ten. Illinois moves on. They beat Minnesota 85-52. Georgetown knocks DePaul out of the Big East tournament. In the NHL, St. Louis over the Blackhawks 3-2 in a shootout. The news service of Invisible Fence brand. Keep them in the yard, away from the fireplace, and off the furniture. Invisible Fence brand has the answer to training your pets at InvisibleFence.com. Invisible Fence brand installs in any weather, rain or snow. Visit InvisibleFence.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
America right now is better off than it's ever been. Man, if I thought that, I wouldn't fight.
The Joe Walsh Show.
52% of young people would do away with the First Amendment. We have people being fined and threatened with jail time for exercising their religious freedom. Yes, I am a pessimist, but that's why I fight.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's spring, Time to get catching and cooking. Don't miss Cabela's Spring Great Outdoor Days, their biggest sale of the season in Hoffman Estates or Hammond, and Cabela's.com.
Hey, this is Joe Walsh, excited to tell you about Chicagoland's finest gun shop and indoor shooting range. I'm talking about Maxon Shooters Supplies and Indoor Range, just north of O'Hare in Des Plaines. Maxon is Chicagoland's first NSSF 5-star facility and one of only 70 nationwide. Hey, protecting your family and Second Amendment rights are real important. That's why Maxon Shooters Supplies is focused on safety, proficiency, education, and takes real pride in providing the area's highest quality facility to hone your skills on one of their 20 handgun, rifle, and shotgun stations. Maxon has the classes you need, including Illinois Concealed Carry and 2 on-staff gunsmiths for all your repair and customization needs. Maxon is easy to reach in Des Plaines, just off of I-90 and Mount Prospect Road. For information or directions, call 847-298-4867 or visit MaxonShooters.com. That's MAXON Shooters.com. Maxon Shooters, Supplies and Indoor Range.
Congratulations to all who took the Balance of Nature New Year's Challenge. Success stories are pouring in. So many people have been helped through this incentive that I have asked Balance of Nature to continue this challenge for as long as possible.
I do feel slightly better. I can't explain it. It's like underlying. I can't explain it. I broke my leg twice, my left leg, and it used to bother me, but now it's not bothering me that much. I mean, you know, I also bowl on Friday nights, and it used to kill me, but now I find that I could do that and without being in any discomfort.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
5:37 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The ramp from southbound 355 to westbound I-80 is closed due to a rollover tank truck. You can get off Veterans Memorial Tollway early at US 6. Take that west to Gauger, down to 30 to get back to 80. On the Edens and the Kennedy, we see no delays yet. The Eisenhower is still fine. Inbound Stevenson, just a little congested around Pulaski, and the ramp to the Ryan is heavy. The Ryan has a 5-minute delay coming into downtown. Bishop Ford, a 6-minute delay from 115th to the Ryan. Traffic is a service of Whole Foods Market. Save today at your local Whole Foods Market. Organic strawberries are just $3.33 per pound through this Tuesday. Get responsibly grown asparagus for just $1.99 per pound. Visit Whole Foods Market, America's healthiest grocery store. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, cooler today, high 52. Clouds break and 35 overnight. Partly cloudy and beautiful tomorrow, high 55. Currently 45 at O'Hare, 47 along Chicago's Great Lakefront. Your next news update is at 6, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Kelly Financial Services, helping you secure your financial future today. Visit kellyfinancialservicesinc.com.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so two old socialists debated again last night. Jorge Ramos, you remember him from Univision or Univision.
I say Univision.
Yeah.
I can't say Univision.
Oh, no, I know. You use the proper dialect with all ethnicities.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a sit down. He's the first
you remember,
news reporter that not Ted Cruz, that Donald Trump chastised.
Well, and
he did wait your turn.
Throughout of his press conference.
Yeah.
He may want to reconsider the relationship with Jorge Ramos because...
it's Jorge Ramos.
I don't have that much phlegm to cough up. Sorry, I'll just have to stick with Jorge Ramos. Because Ramos asked some pointed questions of Hillary, and good for him for doing so. What happens if things break bad and you do get indicted?
If you get indicted, would you drop out?
Oh, for goodness, that is not going to happen. I'm not even answering that question.
Wait, did he get thrown out again?
Little snippy.
Oh, yeah. I am not even addressing that. For good. Oh, and she stopped herself from swearing.
It's not going to happen. Oh,
No,
boy.
it's not gonna happen.
Univision.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah.
no.
Oh, you can never
I
hear
don't know.
that one enough.
So Hillary invoked the Fifth Amendment, which
Yeah.
is her right against self-incrimination, and also gave her standard issue bull jive answer about the whole email flap. But there's a really interesting piece on this topic, by the way, in The Hill, talking about the political problem that Jim Comey, of course, the director of the FBI, has become for the White House. The aggressive posture of the FBI under Director James Comey is becoming a political problem for the White House.
Really?
Yeah. He's stirred tensions on a number of fronts. Remember, he linked rising violent crime rates to the Black Lives Matter movement's focus on police violence, and by warning about gaps in the screening process for Syrian refugees. That is not consistent with the White House narrative on those topics. And, of course, the biggest issue is the Hillary Clinton investigation, and he has kind of slapped the White House back when they've commented on an investigation they know nothing about. The FBI director, The Hill writes, has bristled at the statement that Obama made when he publicly defended Clinton, saying that while she made a mistake, it was not a situation in which America's national security was endangered. Remember when Obama said that?
Right.
To flack for Hillary? Comey said the president would not have any knowledge of the investigation, and he told lawmakers last week he is very close personally to the probe, you'll recall. So this is generating a lot of tension between the White House and the FBI, the political White House, and Jim Comey, FBI director, who by all accounts and people who know him, this guy is as straight and narrow as you can be. He takes his job eminently seriously, as you would hope the FBI director would, that he values his personal integrity above all. So the idea, I know that this is the line of argumentation because this is the conventional wisdom that poisons the minds of Beltway types and the punditocracy. Nothing to see here. She's not going to get indicted. This is all just GOP fantasy. Well, I'll tell you what, it may or may not happen, but what Jim Comey does in this, based on what he thinks occurred, either consistent or inconsistent with the law, I think that's an open question. I don't know what's going to happen, but I have increasing confidence that Jim Comey is going to do what he thinks is right, not what is politically expedient. Now, what Loretta Lynch does,
That's
who knows?
The thing. So if he
Who
presents
knows?
what he thinks she should be charged with to the top attorney in our country, Loretta Lynch, then she'll decide whether or not to press the charges.
Well, that's
or
right.
Or is it a group of people?
Well, no, it's ultimately her decision in terms of prosecuting, in terms of launching any prosecution. But if Comey refers it for prosecution, will we know that occurred?
See, that's what we should, as taxpayers and American citizens, we should be able to know that.
Do you think Jim Comey will sit silently by if it is quashed or slow-walked by the Attorney General? You know,
Heck no.
I don't know. I mean,
But Loretta Lynch, I mean, she was on Capitol Hill yesterday testifying before Congress about, regarding the ongoing investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails. And member Josh Ernst made a few comments at a White House briefing. And Lindsey Graham, the senator, asked her today, how is Ernst getting his information? And she said that no one from the Department of Justice has been briefing any White House staff on the investigation.
So Ernst is a liar.
Well, who's lying? Is Loretta Lynch lying or is Josh Ernst lying?
Or both. There's always that possibility. But I would.
But she suggested yesterday that the White House should just, quote unquote, stay silent on the Hillary email investigation.
Yeah, interesting. And we know, again, telegraphed in some of the news reports last week that, or maybe it was early this week, that they expect, unless there's anything surprising that comes to pass, that the investigation will be wrapped up by May. And a lot of time between May and November to make a decision on the case. So it's just very interesting. This is not going away. The questions will continue to get asked. Hillary will continue to get less tolerant of those questions, as started last night, and it was delicious. But that's not the only fun part about the night.
Oh, you do your fun part, then I have my favorite part of the evening.
Okay, well.
And hopefully I've been told this is the last debate, right?
Last debate before mini Super Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So Hillary...
So there's light at the end of the tunnel, because I don't think I can stomach much more of these.
Hillary. I mean, there was some news made yesterday. Why do we need a gang of 8? I mean, it's why were the Democrats and some Republicans even have to get together to talk about a pathway to citizenship and in the context of enhanced border security? Why is everybody talking about border security? Why are people even talking about immigration at all? There's no problem. The border's secure. How do I know? Hillary said so.
Everybody that I know has looked at it says, okay, we have a secure border. There's no need for this rhetoric and demagoguery that still is carried out on the Republican side. You've run out of excuses. Let's move to comprehensive immigration reform with a path to citizenship. And I think that makes a very strong argument in favor of doing it.
Border secure, not a problem.
Mm-hmm. And then later she went on and said, I'm going to build a 10-foot wall. She was trying to mock Donald Trump, and it didn't sound so good.
Mm-hmm. But, and then there's this. I mean, just a point of order. Back here in the real world, off the debate stage, an illegal alien from Mexico was recently released from a jail in Kansas, despite having a deportation detainer placed against him, has been arrested and charged with murdering 4 people in Kansas City and is the prime suspect in another slaying in Missouri.
Oh, that's right.
Pablo Antonio Serrano Vitorino, 40, apprehended shortly after midnight last night in Montgomery County, Missouri. He'd been on the run since late Monday when he allegedly shot 4 men with an AK-47 in a house in Kansas City, Kansas. One of them was his neighbor. The other 3 were reportedly visiting the residence. And Serrano Vitorino had lived in the neighborhood with his wife and 2 small children. So there's a guy who's been arrested for slaughtering 5 people in Kansas City, Missouri, who shouldn't be in this country. It's not just about the border, right? It's about the system generally. We talked to Joe Arpaio about this. We talked to a lot of people about this. It's visa overstays. It's deporting violent criminals and keeping them out. Obviously, the Kate Steinle case comes to mind. So Hillary's dismissiveness of border security and the immigration problem in this country more generally, boy, oh boy, is that going to be fun fodder in a general election.
She's placating, though, to Latino voters, because I was reading the New York Times yesterday, and they have an article about 1 in 3 Latino voters have someone in their family who's here illegally or undocumented. So she's reaching out to those people. She's trying to get those voters, trying to get the minority vote and secure it. Not doing a great job so far, but she keeps trying.
Oh, she wants, DACA doesn't go far enough.
Oh, right.
I mean,
right.
she's open borders Clinton. That's Hillary. I mean, that's really effectively what her position is. And here's the thing about the Latino vote. If you actually look at survey data, it's so much more complicated. Number one, they're not nearly as obsessed with immigration or comprehensive immigration reform as the phrase that's used as the issue that drives their vote, the issue that presents the most concern to them. Not nearly as obsessed with that is white politicians, either that are trying to pander to them like Hillary and Bernie or that are afraid of them like so many Republicans. They're just not. And actually, as you move down the generational line, so first generation versus second generation versus third generation, the interest in that issue declines substantially. And in point of fact, second and third generation, they're generally as interested in border security as any other demographic. So it's just so much more complicated than here's the way that we're going to appeal to Latino voters. We're going to say open the border and anybody can come in who wants to, regardless of what we know or don't know about them. Tom in Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, that's the answer. 2 points. First of all, the very same people that want to throw Alvarez under the bus for slow walking the McDonald case are perfectly fine with the Loretta Lynch and Barack Obama slow walking the Clinton case. And as far as the open borders crowd, is concerned, anybody that wants to throw away our sovereignty just to get a handful of votes should be seen for exactly what they are. They're anti-American, and they should be disposed with immediately.
Thanks for the call, Tom. And to Tom's point, the putrid prevaricator Rahm Emanuel and Hillary Clinton, 2 peas in a pod, Rahm backing Hillary when she's in Chicago.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Mostly cloudy today, cooler than we're used to, that's for sure. A high of 52 degrees. Then tomorrow, Friday, looks spectacular. It can't come soon enough. It's going to be sunny to partly cloudy and a high of 55. Let's get the road times. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy. Happy Thursday. Veterans Memorial, southbound 355. The ramp to westbound I-80 remains blocked due to a rollover tank truck. You can take westbound 6 to Gauger down to 30. And east back to westbound I-80 to get around that. We're not seeing significant delays. Traffic's still light on 355. Wakanda, there's a crash on eastbound 12 just past 59. Edens, Kennedy still clear. Inbound Eisenhower, it's about a 1-minute delay from 17th to 1st Avenue. Mount Stevenson, a little slow around Kedzie. Inbound Ryan, slow merge to 83rd. There's a slow pickup in the left center lane. Then from the Stevenson on in, it's 23 minutes, 95 to downtown. Bishop Ford, 21 minutes, 80-94 to the Ryan. Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Turnkey IT is a name you've come to know and trust on AM 560. Turnkey IT provides small businesses with IT resources that are normally reserved for Fortune 500 companies. They provide world-class network installations and ongoing IT support for fixed monthly rates based on the size of your network. In fact, Turnkey IT is a program that fits the needs of your business. Turnkey IT understands your business matters, and keeping you focused on it makes all the difference in the world. Best of all, their service can save you time and money. Turnkey IT can give you the peace of mind that backups are being executed, email is always available, files are secure, and you've got someone to call when you need help. Turnkey IT has people who are professional, friendly, on time, and a live person even answers the phone 24 hours a day. So visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
Winter weather is here, and this season's roller coaster ride and temperatures can be especially taxing on your business's mechanical HVAC system. That's why it's important to schedule a comprehensive review of your system today with Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For more than 80 years, Air Comfort has maintained hundreds of businesses' HVAC systems throughout Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. Why do they trust their mechanical systems to Air Comfort? It's simple. Because they understand that Air Comfort has the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as an MSCA Star Contractor, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a large service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900, or online at aircomfort.com.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you wanted to do an FHA Streamline refinance to lower your interest rate and payment, you called me and I helped you. When you wanted to refinance your 11% loan, you called me and I helped you. When you wanted to use your retirement assets to do an asset depletion loan, you called me and I helped you. If you'd like to talk to me about a mortgage, please call me at 312-751-1333. 312-751-1333. Email me at david@pearldavid.com. That's David at PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com licensing.
AM 560, The Answer.
So immigration was a big part of last night's Democratic debate. They talked about, the tall wall, and both Bernie and Hillary agreed they're not going to deport children or families of children.
Else.
There'll be a humane way of doing it when people have to leave the country. And then one of the hosts asked, I don't know, do you remember their names? The
Jorge
Dos
Ramos.
Latinas. I know Jorge Ramos and Dos Latinas. Sounds like a band name, huh?
That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. But asked Hillary about Donald Trump, and is he or is he not a racist?
Secretary Clinton, is Donald Trump a racist?
Karen, I'm going to follow my friend Senator Sanders' model here. If I'm so fortunate enough to be the Democratic nominee, there will be a lot of time to talk about him. I was the first one to call him out. I called him out when he was calling Mexicans rapists, when he was engaging in rhetoric that I found deeply offensive. I said, basta, and I am pleased that others Others are also joining in making clear that his rhetoric, his demagoguery, his trafficking in prejudice and paranoia has no place in our political system.
But it's so funny when she asked the question, she heard Donald Trump and she started laughing. And then she said, "Is he a racist?" And her face went, "Oh."
Yeah. I don't feel no ways tired. Hillary Clinton is a woman for all seasons. Here's something that isn't funny. The Onion is about to get a lot less funny as it pertains to Hillary. Chaim Saban, who owns Univision, Univision bought a controlling stake in The Onion.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Everyone's speaking Spanish.
Come again? You know I don't speak Spanish. In English, please.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
With warmer temperatures just around the corner, you can't wait to kiss the snow and cold weather goodbye. But Old Man Winter is still lingering around in your carpet, area rugs, and even your tile and grout. Yuck. Months of foot traffic over the winter season brought in water, mud, and salt stains. That's why you need to spring clean with Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. They'll pre-treat those stains, bring your area rug back to new, and make your tile and grout look like it was just installed yesterday. Executive Green uses their own purified water and a natural cleaning solution that leaves no residue, a much safer alternative for your family and pets. Get ready for spring with Executive Green's $139 special, which includes 3 carpeted rooms and their 100% no-risk guarantee. Like them on Facebook to see all the amazing before and after photos. Call 708-599-5151. That's 708-599-5151 or executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com. The following is a paid political announcement.
Do no harm.
It's an oath every doctor takes, and Dr. Nick Stella takes that oath very seriously.
Do no harm.
Obamacare is a disaster. Dr. Stella will fight to put healthcare decisions back into the hands of patients and doctors.
Do no harm.
With the threat of terrorism becoming an everyday reality, Dr. Stella will make national security a priority. And instead of arguing about problems, he'll focus on solutions.
Do no harm.
For too long, politics as usual has invaded Congress. As a practicing cardiologist, Dr. Stella's focus is for positive outcomes, an idea that's been lost in Washington. Washington insiders have failed us on all levels: the economy, jobs, national security, healthcare. Dr. Nick Stella has spent his career helping people improve their lives. Dr. Nick Stella will be the outsider voice we need in Congress. Dr. Nick Stella, Republican for Congress.
I'm Dr. Nick Stella, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Stella for Congress, Inc.
Loan is a 30-year fixed-rate loan with a 1-0 lender paid buy down. Reduced payment valid only during the first 12 months. Monthly payment during the first 12 months of your loan is based on a rate that is 1% lower than your interest rate for this loan program. Not all applicants will qualify. Rates and terms subject to change. Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee. 14511 Myford Road, Suite 100, Tustin, California 92780. NMLS 6606 Equal Housing Lender.
I'm Rick Arviello, CEO of New American Funding, and we have just introduced a no points, no lender fee 30-year fixed-rate mortgage at 3 5/8%, 3.57 APR, with the first full year's payment at only 2 5/8%. At New American Funding, we figured out a way to give you more of your savings right up front. Your payment at 2 5/8% fixed rate in year 1 and 3.57% APR for the remaining 29 years with 0 points and 0 lender fees. Even if you just got your loan, we might be able to really save you money. Isn't it worth a 10-minute call to find out?
Call New American Funding today at 800-963-4933. That's 800-963-4933. Or simply dial pound 250 from any mobile phone. keyword get that rate.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Is Marco Rubio a microcosm of the Beltway GOP at 6:06?
But first, here's Mike Scott.
WI Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. They sparred over the auto bailout and immigration reform.
Madam Secretary, I will match my record against yours any day of the week.
Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton debated again last night. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the CNN Univision debate in Miami was held ahead of Florida's primary this Tuesday, where both candidates are wooing the Hispanic vote. Sanders went after Clinton about her private speeches on Wall Street.
I would think that a speech so great that you got paid so much money for, you would like to share it with the American people. So I think
there was a flash of anger on Clinton's face when moderator Jorge Ramos asked about the email scandal.
If you get indicted, would you drop out?
Oh, for goodness, that is not going to happen. I'm not even answering that question.
Poll averages show Clinton with a big lead in the Sunshine State. Dave?
Rachel, the Republicans debate again tonight. Donald Trump says people ganging up against him would derail a movement.
During the Republican primaries, so many people, millions and millions of additional people are showing up to vote.
Lindsey Graham is now joining former candidate Carly Fiorina, backing Ted Cruz as the most logical choice now to stop Trump, who has a 23-point lead over Marco Rubio in a new Fox poll in Florida, but Rubio's not giving up.
I am not dropping out. I'm fighting all the way through, and we're going to win Florida.
Another Fox poll has John Kasich now leading in his home state, Ohio, by 5 points. Both are winner-take-all primaries on Tuesday. An ambush at a backyard party late last night near Pittsburgh.
1304 Franklin Avenue. They have multiple people shot.
5 people were murdered, 3 wounded. As 2 gunmen staged an ambush and got away, police in Wilkinsburg are asking for the public's help finding the murderers. Germany's federal criminal police say they have files containing personal data on members of ISIS and believe they're authentic. It comes after Sky News had reported it had 22,000 Islamic State files on the border with Turkey and Syria, detailing fighters' real names and their phone numbers and even names of those who sponsored and recruited ISIS fighters. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy skies, 44 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Hillary Clinton here in Chicago today, gathering support ahead of next week's state primary. She will be rallying voters in Vernon Hills. Republican candidates are focusing on Chicago this week with the Illinois primary looming. John Kasich was in Lisle and Palatine and then hosted a town hall event on Fox News where Kasich said currently there are providers who charge high amounts whose quality isn't any better than those who charge less.
We are going to incentivize with rewards to people who produce high quality at lower prices below the midpoint. See, we want to begin to drive health care, put downward pressure on it.
In Chicago, Ted Cruz's wife Heidi appeared before the City Club of Chicago. Former Chicago Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy speaking out publicly for the first time since he was fired, discussing the Laquan McDonald case and crime in the city at Harvard University.
All the things that people wanted from police oversight and outside investigatory agencies exists. And at the end of the day, they didn't like the results. And somebody had to take the fall. Somebody had to take the hit. Hi.
McCarthy noted murders have gone up significantly since he was let go. The CTA board approves a $1.3 billion contract for more than 800 new rail cars to be assembled in the city. AM 560's David Stewart has details.
The Chinese firm CSR Saifang won the bid, and CTA Chief Dorval Carter says the company will build a local assembly plant thanks to Mayor Emanuel's insistence.
More than a year ago, he and local labor leaders worked together to add a provision to the RFP for the new rail cars, asking bidders to specify the number and kind of jobs that would be created as part of a rail car procurement.
These new cars will be put together at a facility at 135th Street and Torrance Avenue by a workforce of about 170. Those first cars should be rolling off the line in 2019. David Stewart, Chicago.
Dipping, chewing, and spitting tobacco could go the way of the Sunday twilight doubleheader at Chicago's Major League Baseball ballparks under a plan by Alderman Ed Burke. Burke wants Chicago to become the 4th big league city to ban smokeless tobacco products. Bears bolster the defense with addition of free agent linebacker Danny Trevathan on day 1 of NFL free agency, and they signed offensive tackle Bobby Massey from the Cardinals. College hoops, Fighting Illini stay alive in the Big Ten basketball tournament with a win over Minnesota. On the ice, the Blues beat the Blackhawks in a shootout 3-2. The news, a service of Peapod. You get a good value when you get Peapod. With thousands of specials each week, you can save on all sorts of stuff while you're saving time. Right now, get $20 off your first order and get free delivery for 60 days. Go to peapod.com for details. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes there's only one difference between Sanders and Clinton.
Bernie Sanders wants the state to be even bigger than Hillary Clinton does. Not much. Truth be told, there's no difference between them. There really isn't, except he happens to be personally honest and she's a crook. That is the only difference. He is an honest socialist, she's a dishonest socialist.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
In my line of work, I'm trying to make a difference. Not $1 billion, but I do want to be able to save for the future. So this year I partnered with TIAA to help me map out what I should be doing. Together, we came up with a personalized plan for my finances. And now it seems like a life of rewarding work just might pay off for a lifetime.
See how we're helping those who do good do well at the new TIAA.org. TIAA, created to serve, built to perform.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a free domain with website from GoDaddy.com, starting at $1 a month. Annual purchase of website builder required. Price valid first year only. See website for details.
6:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Very latest now with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Metro reports a delay on the Milwaukee West Line. Train 2202 due downtown at 6:13. It's running about 44 minutes late. Eastbound Adams Tollway, there's a big backup from 25 to the 459 with crash blocking two left lanes. Southbound Veterans Memorial, 355. The ramp to westbound I-80 is closed with a rollover tank truck. Edens is fine. The Kennedy's still delay-free. Inbound Eisenhower, still Manheim to Harlem. 33 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 29. The Stevenson is 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound good. And the Ryan, the express lanes, crashed 31st in the center lane, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown, but heavier in the express. On I-57 and the Bishop Ford, mile delays approach the Verge. Northbound Tri-State heavy from the Thornton Court to Holstead with a crash in the right lane. Traffic is a service of TCF Bank. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. The latest with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
A mostly cloudy day today with a high 52, then clouds break tonight, low 35. Sunny to partly cloudy tomorrow, high 55, and a mostly cloudy night, low 42. Then a couple of showers Saturday and Saturday night with a high of 57 and a low 48. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 45 at O'Hare, 47 along the lakefront. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MyPainChicago.com. World-class treatment for chronic pain. Go to MyPainChicago.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And what we really want to do is to get blocks of companies to come together and put online an education program that if they complete it, that they will be guaranteed an interview with a company that is involved in putting the curriculum together. It's really cool.
If you get indicted, would you drop out?
Oh, for goodness, that is not going to happen. I'm not even answering that question. It is time to unite behind Ted Cruz, ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And tonight's debate, final debate before our mini Super Tuesday, which of course includes the land of Lincoln. But most importantly for the delegate math includes Ohio, and Florida.
Yeah, both winner-take-all states.
Right, and as it goes right now, Trump needs about 54% of the outstanding delegates to get to the magic number of 1237. Obviously, Ted Cruz, his closest rival, he needs 62% of the delegates to get there. So the only two people that could get to that number, and even John Kasich admits this, is Cruz or Trump, with Trump being the favorite at this point. And with the polling that was out yesterday on Florida and Rubio in free fall, politically, financially, and in every other way, if Trump wins Florida, 99 delegates there, even if Kasich wins Ohio, and a Fox News poll yesterday had him up a few points.
It has him up 34% to Donald Trump's 29%.
So it's still close, but it seems to be trending Kasich's way. But even if Kasich were to win Ohio in the 65 delegates there, I think, 66 delegates, that doesn't really stop the Trump momentum, particularly if Trump also wins Illinois and Missouri, North Carolina, and proportional delegates associated with those victories. So you got a real problem stopping Trump if you don't stop him in Florida, and that does not look like a realistic possibility at this time. But here's my question about Rubio, since this is his last debate, one way or the other. And he did say he's staying in. Amid all the rumors, he did say he's staying in, so he'll be on stage tonight.
Yeah, and he's going to adopt a different tone. He's not going to go out after Donald Trump like he did before, and not bring it to the third grade theatricals that was in the last debate.
Now, I like Marco Rubio, and look, when he took on Charlie Crist against the establishment, he was ahead of learning when the Republican establishment in D.C., when they endorsed Charlie Crist when he was a Republican before he became a Democrat, Marco Rubio was the Tea Party candidate running against the established power structure in the party. And I remember that. And he made a mistake with the Gang of Eight, but I think he's a good conservative. I think he's a future leader of the party. And so I'm not ready to completely marginalize him. He's not going to win this race. That's all.
What if he has a spectacular performance tonight? I mean, just blows it out of the water.
I don't even know what that looks like.
Well, you had some suggestions earlier. I mean, if he...
I think he could have a moment or two.
Showed some contrition and said, you know what, I made a mistake and we're all human and
I think
this is what I've learned from my mistake.
Yeah, I think it's a call. I think the call is beyond him just saying, I made some mistakes and I've learned from them and this is the path forward. This is how it informed my judgment, because we all make mistakes and the key, of course, is to...
Learn from them?
Yeah, and become better at what you do. So here's the thing. The first question, though, do you think Marco Rubio, with all his talent and appeal and support, particularly after his, second and third place finishes, it was kind of weird, but that's what happened. Do you think he serves as a microcosm of the Beltway GOP? Unrealized potential. Isn't that the story of the GOP? I mean, when you have majorities and you fail to live up to the opportunity presented to you, you fail to seize it. Isn't that part of where the anger comes from? I think the anger dates back before Republican majorities in Congress, dates back to the George W. Bush administration at least, if not going back to the Clinton administration, going back at least a couple of decades, but certainly the last 15 years. But it seems to me Rubio and his free fall now, it really is an interesting microcosm of what's happened with the Beltway GOP. Something happened along the way to them telling voters what to do. The voters revolted.
And they all turned toward Trump.
And Rubio was a casualty in that revolt.
Well, he was defiant yesterday, saying, he's not giving up. Come and help me, Florida.
You believed in me once. I am asking you to believe again. We can win this election, and we will. I need your help next Tuesday, because we're not just going to win the Florida primary. We are going to win Florida in November.
Yeah, I got that.
Well, I know he has to exude enthusiasm and focus on trying to rally the troops, but here's the thing.
Doesn't it feel a little fake?
Well, it does. It also feels like it's a off key, and by that I mean the opportunity that not enough of the candidates have seized, Republicans generally, is to speak to the electorate about their interests, not about your political interests. Right. It's about me winning Florida. It's about me stopping Trump. It's about me, and it's about me, and it's about me. Now,
And enough about me. What do you think of me?
Well, and now Donald Trump gets away with that largely. But he has made a connection to people where they think actually he is going to be the guy that brings the bicycle chain to the playground in D.C. and he is going to fight for my interests. And I just think that the opportunity for Rubio is, and for Cruz for that matter, is to come at this from a bit of a different angle and to accept responsibility, their share of the responsibility for what's happened. They're all Republican senators, or in the case of Kasich, a governor. And what hasn't happened that should have, what did happen that shouldn't have, and the lessons learned. I think that would be instructive. And look, we're forgiving people. You take ownership for what you did, you recognize the failure, and you credibly make the case that those failures won't happen again because of lessons learned. I think it has much broader appeal than some of what else they've offered. And oh, by the way, meanwhile, back in the real world, President Obama is expected to put forward his Supreme Court nominee by midweek next week. The Washington Examiner reporting that he's down to a short list of half a dozen judicial candidates. Interestingly, no politicians on this short list, all sitting judges. And
that's a positive, don't you think?
Well, I mean, I don't care. I don't think they should be acted upon. I'm taking that's position. So that's one issue that's happening. This may come up tonight. Should. Here's another one. The Iranian deal. Iran fires 2 missiles marked with, quote, Israel must be wiped out, unquote. Iran test launched 2 ballistic missiles yesterday, emblazoned with that phrase in Hebrew. This was reported by the Iranian media.
That was painted on the side of the missile?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Sending a message.
Yeah.
They're trying to.
Technically, this is not a violation of the Iran nuclear deal, which tells you a lot about the Iran nuclear deal. But it got to be a little disconcerting.
Yeah.
And Biden, Joe Biden, this is so cute. A nuclear-armed Iran is an absolutely unacceptable threat to Israel, to the region, the United States. And I want to reiterate, which I know people still doubt here, if in fact they break the deal, we will act. No, we don't doubt. We don't believe it at all. It's not a question of some doubt creeping in. It's a question of completely rejecting the notion that what you're saying is true. And then there's this. Senate GOP helps advance Obama education nominee. Despite opposition from former educators, school boards, and public officials, a Senate panel voted in favor of confirming John King Jr. to serve as the Secretary of Education through the end of Barack Obama's term. So King is replacing Arnie Duncan. The Senator Lamar Alexander from Tennessee praised his members for approving the new Department of Education head, who will be tasked with overseeing the implementation of the latest iteration of No Child Left Behind, terrible big government gambit from George W. Bush administration, and now Common Core. Public officials suggest that John King Jr. has a quote-unquote blind commitment to Common Core, and Senate Republicans, for all the talk about opposing Common Core, they're moving President Obama's nominee, who is a blind devotee to Common Core, along. This helps to explain yet another instance of the rise of Trump.
Well, why wouldn't they just didn't want to fight this one? They wanted to focus on the primaries. Maybe why
Right.
let that one go?
Because
And who's been there? Arnie Duncan. I thought he resigned a long time ago.
Yeah, King has been acting, and so this
Okay.
is the formal confirmation or not confirmation. Yeah. But this is, we'll give the president what he wants. This is all being very collegial and neighborly, and this is exactly what has spawned the revolt. This is a small thing in the grand scheme of things. Common Core isn't, because it's about the quality of K through 12 education. But the confirmation of this nominee is a small thing in the great pantheon of things that the Republicans have caved on.
You know who's going to oppose it? Senator Tim Scott, Republican, South Carolina.
He should, as should more. And I assume you'll hear, if this comes up, which maybe it will tonight, you'll hear some Republican candidates for president oppose it as well. But this is what the problem is, right, in the Republican Party. We're going to avoid this fight so we can wait to avoid the next fight. And
Is that why people are disenchanted?
Well, people's lives are worsening while Republicans avoid taking up the battles they said they would take up. and again and again and again, thus the rise of Trump.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up next, guess who crashed John Kasich's party when he was in Palatine yesterday? But first, here's your forecast. Today, mostly cloudy, cooler, a high of 52 degrees. Then tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy skies, just an absolutely gorgeous day, a high of 55. Let's see if there's anything good on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, there's something bad in a few places. Amy, northwest side, California Avenue is blocked north of Belmont between Roscoe and Henderson due to a crash. Southbound 355, the ramp westbound I-80 remains closed with a rollover tank truck to US 6 west to Gauger. A detour. Eastbound Adams Tollway jammed from the Fox River Bridge to the 459. The crash blocking 2 left lanes. The northbound Tri-State has delays from Lincoln Oasis to Holstead. There's a crash in the left lane and another before the Thornton Quarry in the right. Eden's 20 minutes Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 19 to Kennedy. 22 minutes O'Hare to downtown, the Eisenhower. 38 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop. Stevenson, 42 minutes 355 to Lakeshore Drive. And Ryan, 23 minutes 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Gentlemen, Dan Proft here. You may have seen the news story on NBC Nightly News recently about new medical research on the benefits of testosterone treatment. Low T Center and their national medical director were featured. You've been hearing me talk about the Low T Center a lot lately because when it comes to your health, you should go to a medical provider that you can trust and that specializes in testosterone. That's why I went to Low T Center and met with their medical staff. Their physicians exclusively diagnose and treat men with low T. If you're a man over 40 and have noticed a decline in energy, stamina, or libido, you may have low testosterone. Low T makes you feel tired and grumpy, can raise your cholesterol and cause weight gain. Low T Center's experienced medical staff will educate you on the benefits and risks of testosterone replacement. At Low T Center, their service is covered by most health insurance, and you'll know your results within 45 minutes. So call today, 630-409-4305, and tell them Dan Proft sent you. That number, 630-409-4305, or go online at lowtcenter.com.
Romantic urges.
Hello, my name is Barbara Walters, and although I'm not famous as the Barbara Walters that you're thinking of, I am indeed famous for something that has more value to you. Redefining the word easy with a mortgage from Ameritrust Mortgage. You've got my word, or my name isn't Barbara Walters. Our professional staff here actually underwrites, approves, and closes your loan for you, and not for just new loans. If your current mortgage rate is above 4%, you can get an automatic reduction, no qualifying, no appraisal on any FHA or VA loan. You literally just have to call us to find out what you'll save. We will take care of the rest. Find out why everyone talks to Ameritrust about their mortgage. Call Ameritrust Mortgage at 815-459-7303. That's 815-459-7303. Redefining the word easy with a mortgage from Ameritrust Mortgage.
Ameritrust Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee number 720. NMLS number 217229. The following is a paid political announcement.
Republican Michelle Moore is an active member of her church who spends her Tuesday afternoons teaching children our shared values at catechism class. You don't see that much in politics, but Michelle Moore is not your average candidate. Michelle Moore teaches ethics and morals to our children because she believes we need to do the right thing at home, at work, and in public, especially in government. Michelle Moore will bring that honesty and integrity to the DuPage County Board. Michelle Moore is a fiscal conservative who believes we need to cut property taxes. Michelle Moore will work with DuPage County Board Chairman Dan Cronin for accountability, consolidation, and transparency. Michelle Moore will attack the problems of government with the same fervor she brought to felony prosecutions as an assistant DuPage County State's Attorney. Republican Michelle Moore is exactly what we want and need in DuPage County government. Please vote for Republican Michelle Moore on March 15th.
Paid for by Citizens for Michelle Moore.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so dueling town halls yesterday on Fox News Channel. Megyn Kelly did Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio. Greta had Kasich. And, wait, where was Trump again? Oh, I forgot.
Trump was with Anderson Cooper.
Well, that's right, on CNN.
Yeah, they did an hour-long interview.
Well, here was Ted Cruz making a direct appeal to Trump voters at this rally/interview session with Megyn Kelly last night.
But also critically, if you're tired of politicians lying to you, if you think Donald, quote, tells it like it is, he is telling us he's lying to us. He's saying the day after he's elected, he would be someone exactly different than he is. I'll tell you, Megan, the day after I'm elected president, I will be the exact same person I am today.
And that's so true, because Anderson Cooper asked Donald Trump, I mean, is it more important to stand on principle than it is to compromise? And Donald Trump said, well, I'm the negotiator. I'm the compromiser. I'm the one who's going to get things done. So he's not going to be standing on moral principle. He's just going to, work with both parties.
What do you think?
And if you're not a conservative, are you okay with that?
What do you think about the appeal that Cruz made? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line, 64636-DA. Turnkey.pro text line. Donald Trump is a chameleon. I think Ted Cruz is right when he says Donald Trump is telling you that everything is open. The guy I am today could be very different than the guy I am as the nominee, very different than the guy I will be as president of the United States. Those are effectively Trump's words. So I think Cruz is on point. I don't know how persuasive that is to dyed-in-the-wool Trump supporters, but it doesn't make what Cruz said untrue just by calling him a liar. I also thought the Kasich interview with Greta was interesting. There was a question that was asked to Kasich about Trump supporters, but from a different perspective, about Trump supporters that are middle-aged men and women who are obsolete, so to speak. They have been relieved of their job, or they've been found to have skills that are no longer terribly marketable and are having difficulty finding work. This is a real thing. And John Kasich addressed that. I thought he had some interesting points on topic and an idea that he's pursued in Ohio.
Well, that is one of the scariest things. These are sort of the Trump supporters. I'm 55 years old. I lost my job. And here's what happens. You go home, you fill out a resume, you go, this is all going to work out for me, and you never get hired. It is a scary proposition for a man or a woman. And then over time, of course, you start to feel like you're losing your dignity, which is also a terrible situation. We need to have lifelong learning. Number one, I think that, there's always the access to the community college, and there's always access to the community college to get the skills for the jobs that exist.
But who's going to hire the older? If you can get someone.
Because if you got skills, you'll get hired. If you have the skills, the problem is you don't have the skills and you're out trying to get them. So let me give you another thing that I think we can do, and we're trying to push on this. There are many job openings in Illinois and Ohio, all across this country. And what we really want to do is to get blocks of companies to come together and put online an education program that if they complete it, that they will be guaranteed an interview with a company that is involved in putting the curriculum together. It's really cool.
This is why I always kind of default to governors, because the states are the incubators of democracy. The laboratories of democracy, I should say, and the incubators of interesting policy ideas, much more so than D.C. Some interesting ideas from Kasich. By the way, concurrent with this, yesterday, Scott Walker signed vocational education teacher measure in Wisconsin, where you can hire teachers that have experience in vocational arts, so they don't have to have the traditional teacher certificate necessarily. This is in response to a shortage of vocational education teachers, and school districts saying they need the flexibility to lure experienced professionals to the classroom, or otherwise they have to discontinue courses that can move people with skills into the workforce if they're not going to college beyond high school, which is a significant percentage of the population. So this is, again, where you've got governors that are addressing some of the things that senators and politicians in D.C. just speechify about.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The only significant, among all the vitamins I changed, nothing affected cholesterol. I took this and my cholesterol dropped by 15 or 20%.
Yeah, with the acid reflux, and I have GERD and gastritis, and it really seems to be helping a lot, and my husband too. I mean, we're very happy with the product, I got to say it. It's been great, and we've seen dramatic results, so I can't say anything bad about it. We've really been happy with the product. We've been amazed with it.
There is a value in it because it has fruits and veggies, and I'm not a fruit and veggies eater, and I know this is helpful.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The state of play in Florida will have it with Kevin Derby, a political reporter for the Sunshine State News at 6:36.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Cloudy and 44 degrees in Chicago. 5 are dead, 3 more injured, 2 critically in a shooting near Pittsburgh. 4 women and 1 man were shot and killed. Happened at a backyard barbecue in the suburb of Wilkinsburg. The 2 suspects are still at large. Democratic presidential candidates Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton applauding the normalization of relations with Cuba. During a debate last night in Miami, Sanders says Congress should take another big step and end the long embargo with the communist nation.
I think we have got to end the embargo. I believe that we should move toward full and normalized political relations with Cuba. I think at the end of the day, it will be a good thing for the Cuban people.
President Obama visits Cuba later this month. Ted Cruz stood firm on his belief that it would not be smart to elect Donald Trump.
Donald may be the one person on the face of the planet that Hillary Clinton can beat in the November general election.
Meantime, the Texas senator sitting down for an interview on Fox News explained his beliefs that Trump would not be the person to elect. Trump, in an interview with Sean Hannity, says he believes it will be easier for business to stay in the U.S. if he is president.
Our companies are leaving because we almost encourage companies to get out of the country because we have no policies. We don't know what we're doing. Other countries devalue their currencies, and they make it impossible for companies to sell.
Thousands more are expected today at the Reagan Presidential Library, where former First Lady Nancy Reagan will lie in repose. A private funeral is scheduled for tomorrow. A salmonella outbreak in 9 states linked to pistachios, according to the CDC. An Air Force veteran is facing a long stretch in prison after being found guilty of trying to join ISIS. A New York jury convicted the former Air Force mechanic yesterday of attempting to provide material support to the terror group. A CTA board has approved a $1.3 billion contract for more than 800 new rail cars to be assembled here in Chicago. And the widow of Fox Lake officer Charles Joseph Glenowitz is facing another charge. Melody Glenowitz was indicted yesterday on 1 count of conspiracy. She's already been charged with money laundering and misuse of charitable funds. Authorities believe Lieutenant Glenowitz staged his own suicide last September over fears that his years of embezzlement would be discovered. Chicago sports, Bears bolster the offensive line and the linebacking core yesterday with the signings of Danny Trevathan and Bobby Massey. College hoops, Fighting Illini stay alive in the Big Ten tournament with a win over the Golden Gophers. St. Louis beat the Blackhawks 3-2 in a shootout. Spring training baseball, Oakland pounded the White Sox, while Jake Arrieta had 2 perfect innings of work, and the Cubs lost to Cleveland. The news service of Business Outfitters by Land's End. Well, there's an old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. It's true. Outfitters by Land's End makes it easier than ever to look your best, so you always make a great impression. Business Outfitters by Land's End. They supply confidence. Shop now at business.landsend.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sends a warning to whoever wins the GOP nomination.
Whoever wins this is what they are going to do.
This is how they play this game.
This is not beanball for Democrats. Hillary Clinton wants Air Force One. She wants to be called Madam President. There's nothing that she won't say or do.
The Sean Hannity Show, Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's spring. Time to get catching and cooking. Don't miss Cabela's Spring Great Outdoor Days. Their biggest sale of the season in Hoffman Estates or Hammond and Cabela's.com.
Fact. Approximately 60% of all residential properties in Cook County are overassessed and paying way too much in property taxes. Here's the good news. If you live anywhere in Cook County, Chicago, or the burbs, now there's a way to find out in 60 seconds or less if you're one of the 60% that's overpaying. IAppealPropertyTax.com will give you your estimated savings without cost or obligation. If you decide to appeal your taxes, IAppealPropertyTax.com handles the entire process for a modest flat fee depending on your actual tax savings. IAppealPropertyTax.com has an 85% success rate once the appeal is filed. And if your appeal isn't successful, it costs you zero. So if you're a Cook County property owner and even suspect your taxes are too high, visit IAppealPropertyTax.com. That's IAppealPropertyTax.com. Do it now. You've got nothing to lose and potentially a lot to save. IAppealPropertyTax.com.
If medications haven't helped you treat your depression, why haven't you tried TMS therapy offered by Theramind? Now there is a way to successfully treat your depression without the need for meds and their harmful side effects. TMS therapy is covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and Medicare. Don't continue to suffer needlessly. Call Theramind. Don't wait. Call Theramind now. 847-562-5868. The single greatest advancement to date in treating depression is TMS. It's an FDA-cleared, non-drug, safe, and effective treatment. TMS has already changed the lives of over 50,000 patients. Why not you? Visit TMSmind.com. Depression can be beaten, and without drugs. Call Theramind today. 847-562-5868. Or get more info at TMSmind.com. That's Theramind at 847-562-5868 or online at TMSmind.com.
6:36 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eastbound Adams Tollway traffic is completely jammed from 31 to B459 with a crash blocking two left lanes. Southbound Veterans Memorial, the ramp to westbound I-80 remains blocked with a rollover tank truck. Eden's inbound 24 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 19. The Kennedy now 34 minutes, O'Hare to downtown outbound 23. Eisenhower 40 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop outbound 31. Stevenson 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Bryan is 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford 31 minutes, 8094 to the Merge. Traffic service of Jewel Osco. Shop Jewel and save some green on asparagus, just $1.25 a pound. And large avocados are 99 cents each. Plus double up on 20-ounce packages of fresh Jewel Italian sausage or bratwurst, both at buy one, get one free savings. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy and cooler today. We'll top out at 52, low of 35 overnight, and a nice day shaping up for tomorrow with a high of 55. 44 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Westmont Economic Development. Choose Westmont.com to develop, relocate, or expand your business.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, when Trump attacks, you see the story, North Haven, Connecticut, Trump is flying drones over the residents of North Haven, Connecticut, with big Trump signs hanging from the drone.
Oh, I thought you meant that he was doing something maybe nefarious, like spying on them to make sure they had Trump paraphernalia somewhere in their house. But he's flying the drone with the flag. Oh, I see it.
Yeah, they're not weaponized. It's not like he's not like.
Is he dropping pallets of cash?
I think
vote for me.
Private label Trump steaks.
Oh, that's right.
For the masses.
Yeah. Oh, and I see a bottle of the water there, the Trump water coming down. Yeah.
No word on whether they're weaponized. They could be, bombing homes that have a Ted Cruz sign in front of them, perhaps. So Trump drones. That's the latest in campaign warfare. Now let's get the
latest. Be a first.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, actually. something to think about. Now let's get the latest from Florida. We're now joined by Kevin Derby, senior political reporter for the Sunshine State News. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Not a problem, Dan. Glad to be here.
So, seen any drones over the skies in the Sunshine State there?
No drones in this campaign. Everything else in the world, but no drones yet so far.
So the surveys that were out yesterday seem to indicate that Trump has reasserted his lead. I know there's been some variance between 12 and 20, 23 points, but is your sense that with Marco Rubio's campaign and a bit of free fall that this race is Trump's to lose?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Donald Trump's going to be very strong in North Florida. You look at the numbers from Georgia and Alabama, which are part of the Florida media market. He dominated there with 45% of the vote. Rubio is not getting out his home base. He had an event in Hialeah in Miami. He had a rally yesterday. Very few people. Embarrassingly, how empty it was.
Yeah, I saw that picture.
It was pretty bad. And Ted Cruz is starting to make his move up here. Some of the polls are showing Cruz now narrowing in on third place, starting to come after Rubio. And bringing in Carly Fiorina's endorsement in Miami was kind of one of the big stories yesterday. He's got a little bit of wind behind his back after he's showing across the rest of the nation.
Kevin, do you think there's any chance that Ted Cruz might blow past Marco Rubio and come in second place?
There's a possibility. I don't think it's a probability, but I do think it's possible. Cruz has a very good ground organization here. As conservatives are thinking there's only one option to stop Trump, it's Cruz. I think that argument's going to resonate. I think Cruz has a lot at stake here and in the debate tonight. And we'll see if he'll be able to kind of brush past Rubio for second here.
Is there something specific going on in Florida that leaves Rubio in the difficult position he finds himself? And frankly, he was in that difficult position even before his campaign started to kind of break apart in the last week. Why isn't the native son doing better throughout the campaign up until now in his home state than he is? Is it something specific to Florida, or is it just part of the general revolt on behalf of Trump that's happening nationally?
Well, I think that's part of the general revolt, but let's also be very candid. Rubio's numbers have been soft here. Part of the problem is Rubio had one big win here, and that was in 2010 when Charlie Crist left the Republicans, ran as an independent, split the vote. Rubio has not been in his desk much. We know he doesn't miss a lot of votes. There's a lot of resentment towards that. There's also a lot of resentment from the Jeb Bush crowd, who haven't forgiven him for running against Jeb, for kind of stealing Jeb's spotlight, and that he just doesn't have the accomplishments Jeb Bush has. So between all of that, it's a perfect storm to lead to what's going to look like it's going to be a humiliating defeat for him on Tuesday night.
Now, one source revealed early this morning that your former governor is going to be supporting Ted Cruz. Have you heard that rumor, and is it true?
That rumor's been out there. I haven't heard any confirmation on it, but that rumor is out there that he has been meeting with Kasich, with Cruz, and with Marco Rubio this week, trying to throw his support at last second. I would think a Jeb Bush endorsement would kind of be enough, I think, to get Cruz into second place past Rubio. Maybe it'd be the kiss of death for Rubio.
What about Rick Scott? Because there was the rumor at the Trump victory press conference on Tuesday, right, that he was going to endorse Donald Trump, and then of course that never materialized. So is that a possibility too, or is Scott just kind of all over the map?
I don't think it's a possibility. Scott has had very kind words for Trump. He actually had an op-ed in the USA Today back in January praising Trump, saying he understood it, he felt like a fellow outsider. There's certainly a lot of buzz, both in Washington and Tallahassee, that Scott could end up being a vice presidential candidate for Trump. But I don't particularly see him coming out in the final few days. Part of that is Rick Scott right now, despite having Republican control of both chambers of the legislature, he's trying to get his final deals done before the budget gets come out. Final vote on the budget on Friday for the state legislature, end of session. And there's still a lot of Jeb and Marco backers in the Florida legislature. So Scott's hands are pretty much tied. I think endorsing Trump would probably be a lose-lose for him at this point.
Now, of course, the rumors the last couple of days, too, have been that Marco Rubio may drop out before the debate tonight. He may drop out before Florida to avoid that potentially embarrassing loss you just described.
And you said he might drop out at the end of the debate tonight.
Right. There was some fun, in the Twitterverse about, Marco Rubio doing his William Jennings Bryan at the end of the debate and walking off the stage and saying, "I'm out," but don't vote for Trump. So locally, do you get, and now Rubio again reiterated, "I'm staying in." Do you get any sense, any possibility that he does walk before Tuesday?
I think a Jeb endorsement would help push him out the door, but I think it's in all likelihood he's going to be staying in the race at least till Tuesday. It's too late at this point. The damage has been done. Whether he bows out now or whether he bows out after a poor second or third place showing on Tuesday night, Rubio's goose is already cooked. This has already been a humiliating defeat for him one way or the other. The only way through is through the eye of the beast, and that's the remote, very, very remote possibility he can upset Donald Trump here on Tuesday.
What do you think brought him down? I mean, he was doing so well. You know, he came in third, then fifth, then second, and I thought he was going to, won Minnesota, and Puerto Rico. But I mean, he said that he regretted his personal attacks on Donald Trump. Do you think that's what put the nail in the coffin when we saw a different, more vicious side of Marco Rubio?
I think that it didn't help him. Certainly the small hands comment that was juvenile. It got rid of kind of a lot of the will that was out there towards Rubio. But Rubio's problem was he never quite found his niche. He's not the movement conservative, the social conservative that Ted Cruz is. He doesn't speak to the Trump crowd. He doesn't speak to the establishment the way Jeb Bush or Kasich did. Rubio is kind of everyone's second or third choice. This is great if it's 1880 and we're going to Cleveland to nominate James Garfield after 36 ballots, but it's not how presidents are made today. And that is the problem. I think, going in, Rubio never quite found his niche, never quite found his groove. And the map was never kind to him. He never quite figured out where he wanted to focus on. Was it going to be New Hampshire? Was it going to be South Carolina? Was it going to be Florida? And in return, all he sees kind of second and third place showings, which is apropos because he's everyone's second or third choice.
I was wondering when today we were going to get a James Garfield reference, so thank you for that,
you
Kevin Derby.
You always need that, at least once a day, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're talking to Kevin Derby. He's a senior political reporter for the Sunshine State News, talking about the Florida primary on Tuesday. And so is Marco Rubio, is his job tonight to think past this campaign and to the next one and try and repair and improve his image and standing with an eye towards running for governor in 2018?
Yeah, so what the buzz is. Yeah, I think that's exactly what he has to do tonight, is try to kind of leave with some grace as much as possible. It will be a crowded field in 2018, and actually Florida Agriculture Commissioner Adam Putnam, the name might be familiar to some of your listeners. Yeah. He was part of the congressional leadership back 10 years ago as kind of the number 4 man in the House. He is running hard for the post already. There are other possibility candidates as well. Kirk Clausen, a Tea Party favorite from Southwest Florida, is getting a little buzz. Teddy Yoho, another Tea Party favorite from North Florida, is getting a lot of buzz. He was the gentleman who took on John Boehner last year for the gavel. He will have competition whether he runs for governor or wants to return back to the Senate in 2018. So we'll see what happens there.
So, Marco Rubio's ongoing career, I mean, a young guy, up-and-comer, the up-and-comer could be out altogether in a couple of years and be yesterday's news. I mean, that's how quickly it can turn in politics.
Yeah, it's very, very possible. And I wouldn't be surprised if Rubio stays a few years on the sidelines, rebuilds, and stays in the private sector and tries to make some money. That's certainly not a bad cause for him.
Yeah, what is former Governor Jeb Bush going to be doing? He's been able to spend some time at home, barbecuing, making guacamole.
Well, he's meeting with Kasich. Kasich said he's meeting with Jeb. Yeah.
But besides that, any future plans for him?
No, I think the only way I could see Jeb Bush coming into office would be maybe an appointed position. I know he would love to be education secretary, but honestly, with so many Republicans up in arms about Common Core, I don't see that as a particularly good fit. I do think, though, if say Cruz is the next president of the United States, I think Jeb Bush would be on the short list for a cabinet position.
All right, he's Kevin Derby, senior political reporter at the Sunshine State News. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.Pro answer line.
Please clap. It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, mostly cloudy, cooler, a high of 52 degrees. Then tomorrow, Friday. Can't wait. It's going to be sunny, partly cloudy, just an absolutely gorgeous day, a high of 55. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Southbound Veterans Memorial, the ramp to westbound I-80 still closed with a rollover tank truck. Your detour is US 6 westbound to Gallagher, south to 30 to get back to 80. Eden's inbound slow 2E to the junction. 24 minutes like Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. The Kennedy is 34 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, quicker than the Express, outbound 28 minutes. The Eisenhower, 45 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 32. Stevenson now 52 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, 41 from the Tri-State, outbound it's clear. Bryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. On the northbound Tri-State, it's slow. Bishop Ford past the Lincoln Oasis with a crash on the right side. Then from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go from the Elgin Toll to be 459. The crash has moved to the shoulder there. Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Investors paying attention to economic reports today. More trouble for Chipotle restaurants. Vermont now requires employers to provide paid sick days. Those stories next.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a SelectQuote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-431-0848. That's 1-800-431-0848. 1-800-431-0848. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
The day ahead will be filled with economic developments. Freddie Mac releasing weekly mortgage interest rates, the Labor Department reporting jobless claims, and the Fed releases its quarterly report on household net worth. More trouble for Chipotle as another store closed in Massachusetts this week after an employee tested positive for norovirus. That Massachusetts location is scheduled to reopen today. Thousands of people all over France are protesting President Francois Hollande's plans to tamper with the 35-hour work week there. Unions and student organizations are trying to kill that reform. Employers in Vermont will be required to provide paid sick days every year. Vermont becomes the 5th state to require such paid leave. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Over a half-century ago, a respected firearms store opened. It started as a hobby to Mike Schrank and has now served generations of customers. Schrank's Smoke and Gun retains a family atmosphere, and they now carry the largest selection of new, used, and consignment firearms in Lake County. From pistols, rifles, shotguns, to hard-to-find calibers, collectibles, and older functioning hunting rifles, you'll also find full gunsmith services from simple detail cleaning to complete rebuilds. Whether you're thinking about your first firearm or a FOID card or looking to add to your collection, just visit Schrank's Smoke and Gun. If you have a firearm to sell, their sale was so successful that they'll need your firearms. And if you love cigars, you'll find your favorites in Schrank's humidors, along with a broad selection of pipes and tobacco. So visit smoketheletterN.gun.org or just call 847-662-4034. Schrank's Smoke and Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964. Again, the number 847-662-4034.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do no harm.
It's an oath every doctor takes, and Dr. Nick Stella takes that oath very seriously.
Do no harm.
Obamacare is a disaster. Dr. Stella will fight to put healthcare decisions back into the hands of patients and doctors.
Do no harm.
With the threat of terrorism becoming an everyday reality, Dr. Stella will make national security a priority. And instead of arguing about problems, he'll focus on solutions.
Do no harm.
For too long, politics as usual has invaded Congress. As a practicing cardiologist, Dr. Stella's focus is for positive outcomes, an idea that's been lost in Washington. Washington insiders have failed us on all levels: the economy, jobs, national security, healthcare. Dr. Nick Stella has spent his career helping people improve their lives. Dr. Nick Stella will be the outsider voice we need in Congress. Dr. Nick Stella, Republican for Congress.
I'm Dr. Nick Stella, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Stella for Congress, Inc.
AM 560, The Answer.
So we all know that John Kasich, Governor Kasich, was at Palatine Park District's community center yesterday, and right toward the end of his rally, it was a nice crowd. It wasn't a lot of shouting. Everyone was.
Oh, no, it's very docile at a Kasich rally.
I mean, it was. It was really, and he was humble. And
the high school students get their homework done during the rally.
Actually, they went there for a homework assignment, believe it or not. But at the end, a Bernie Sanders impersonator took the stage.
Hey, Bernie, come on up here a second. Let me just say this. This is not so much a question, so much as it is a compliment. On behalf of all the American people, I want to thank you for bringing a little class to the Republican debates. Now, hold on, let me finish. Not talking billionaire class or millionaire class, but regular class. So thank you very much. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you very much.
She got the halting speaking style of Bernie down.
And he
that
looked
was,
like him when he was waving his arm. So guess who it was?
Chicago actor?
A Chicago actor.
Joe Montana.
No, one more guess.
Joan Cusack.
No. Jerry Springer, no. It was Pat Tomasulo from WGN.
Oh.
The sports guy. He also is a great impersonation of Bernie Sanders.
That is nonsense. Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
A beauty day to play 18, huh, Dale? 80 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. The forecast looks great for the next 3 days, too. Looks like we'll just schedule 3 more courses this week.
You've been pretty lucky that you've been able to spend some quality time in the sun. Something that you may not be so lucky with is the fact that 1 in 5 people will develop skin cancer in their lifetime. At Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, they know that most people are unaware of the effects that a lifetime of sun can have on their skin. If you've been sunburned in your lifetime, it's time to have your skin checked out. Call Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates at 855-560-SKIN. or visit skinhealthpros.com. The doctors at Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates have your skin health covered. Skin cancer kills, so today's the day to get your skin checked. Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, 855-560-SKIN. or visit skinhealthpros.com. Healthy skin, healthy body, healthy, happy you.
Spring is in the air, and along with the warmer temperatures comes time for some spring cleaning. And if your home is like mine, you've had a lot of foot traffic over the winter, which brought in water, mud, those nasty salt stains. Now, the residue of winter sticks around in your carpet, area rugs, your tile, and your grout. That's why I recommend you spring clean with the best Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. When Executive Green cleaned my home, they used their own purified water with a natural solution that left no sticky residue. And there's still time to book your cleaning before the Easter weekend. Call 708-599-5151. That's 708-599-5151. And ask about Executive Green's $139 special, which includes 3 carpeted rooms and their 100% no-risk guarantee. So look, if you're not satisfied, your service is free. It's really that simple. Like them on Facebook to see all the amazing before and after photos. Call 708-599-5151 or visit ExecutiveGreenCarpetCleaning.com. That's ExecutiveGreenCarpetCleaning.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
We begin with the scandal for the IRS. Medicare fraud has become one of, if not the most profitable crimes in America.
Whew. Washington's a mess.
Boy, sure is.
Nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, maybe your representative's not, but my congressman's actually getting some results.
Who?
Peter Roskam. He's led investigations into the IRS scandals.
Really?
Yeah, even passed a law to stop the abuses.
Oh, yeah. I saw something on Fox where they called Roskam the man leading the charge.
Yeah, he's actually forcing some accountability.
It's about time somebody did.
Make a right at the light?
Okay.
Anyway, Roskam's great on Medicare, too. Yeah, he's got a solution to stop the fraud.
Huh. That could save us some money.
Sure would. It's an easy decision on March 15th. I'm voting for conservative Peter Roskam. He's actually getting things done.
Paid for by Roskam for Congress Committee.
I'm Peter Roskam, candidate for Congress, and I approve this advertisement.
Business moves at the speed of trust. Trust in your product, and just as imperative, trust in those that represent your business. For almost 3 decades, Flex Execs has helped their clients become more competitive by recruiting and vetting qualified experts for short-term assignments in HR, accounting, marketing, and operations. Need individual consultants or project teams from staff level to the executive suite? Flex Exec's talented consultants are superior and unmatched. Whether you require interim experts or have regular positions to fill, Flex Exec's professional recruiting organization will help you meet your deadlines, control costs, and place the people you need for maximum business results. Business moves at the speed of trust. Trust the people that represent your business. You can't afford not to. Connect online with Flex Execs at flex2016.com or call Chris at 630-655-0563, extension 2. Flex2016.com or call Chris at 630-655-0563, extension 2.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Trump wants to unify the party. Can he? We'll ask Dan Gallegos from Art of the Deal Pack at 7:07.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a former CPD superintendent, speaking out. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It was an ambush and a massacre.
We're getting another call now again for shots fired.
And the killers are still on the loose near Pittsburgh. Fox's Tanya J. Powers details what happened live.
Day 4 women and a man were killed. 3 more are in the hospital, 2 of them critical. Allegheny County Police Lieutenant Andrew Sherman says no one shot back.
We do not believe at this point anybody that was in that backyard or an attendee of the party fired weapons in return.
4 of the victims were found on the back porch. 1 died later at a hospital. The search continues for those gunmen. Police say they're looking for at least 2 people, Dave.
Tanya, Hillary Clinton pressed again about the FBI probe into her private emailing while Secretary of State.
I am not concerned about it. I am not worried about it. And no Democrat or American should be either.
And when asked if she'd drop out if indicted, she said that's not going to happen. As Clinton and Bernie Sanders sparred at last night's debate, Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Clinton claimed Sanders supported Minutemen vigilantes on the border and attacked his voting record in the Senate.
If everyone had voted as he voted, we would not have rescued the election.
Sanders held his ground during the CNN Univision debate in Miami.
No, I did not oppose the bailout or the support of the automobile industry. No, I do not support vigilantes, and that is a horrific statement.
The debate was held just days before Florida holds its primary, Clinton holding a sizable lead over Sanders. Dave.
And the regional Republicans debate again tonight.
Everybody that's attacked me is gone.
But Marco Rubio's still hanging on, insisting he won't drop out before Florida, where Donald Trump holds a 23-point lead in a new Fox poll. Rubio does regret attacking Trump personally in his hands and tan.
My kids were embarrassed by it. My wife didn't like it. I don't think it reflects good. That's not who I am.
This as Lindsey Graham joins Carly Fiorina as ex-candidates who think Ted Cruz is now the best anti-Trump choice. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
We have clouds this morning, 44 degrees, 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Jim Telemonte is helping us watch an overturned truck this morning. It was carrying liquid nitrogen. It's blocking a ramp from southbound I-355 in south suburban New Lenox. Illinois State Troopers say the tanker rolled over early this morning near westbound I-80. Hazardous materials teams are on the scene. The driver was taken from the scene with non-life-threatening injuries, but it is a threat to your morning commute. Jim has all the numbers and details coming up in just a moment. Republican candidates for president focusing on Chicago with the Illinois primary looming Tuesday. John Kasich telling an audience in Lisle he has no intention of dropping out of the contest, and health care reforms need to be a priority.
We are going to incentivize with rewards to people who produce high quality at lower prices below the midpoint. See, we want to begin to drive health care, put downward pressure on it.
Ted Cruz's wife Heidi appeared before the City Club of Chicago as well. Former Chicago Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy speaking out publicly for the first time since he was fired, discussing the Laquan McDonald case and crime in the city of Chicago during a Harvard University forum.
All the things that people wanted from police oversight and outside investigatory agencies exists. And at the end of the day, they didn't like the results. And somebody had to take the fall, somebody had to take the hit. Hi.
McCarthy noted murders have gone up significantly since he was let go in December. An investigation continues after a man and woman were found dead in a Joliet auto body shop. Police say the bodies of Micah Oram and Jamie Willis were discovered yesterday at Fleet Specialty Painting and Auto. State lawmakers are holding hearings today in Springfield on plans to eliminate the state sales tax on feminine hygiene products. And the suit by a former staffer who contends he was sexually harassed by then-Treasurer Dan Rutherford asserts that the plaintiff wasn't the only victim. The revised suit by Edmund Michalowski names 4 other staff members who allegedly complained that Rutherford made unwanted sexual advances at them as well. Rutherford has not commented on the charge. Bears bolster that defense on day 1 of NFL free agency, acquiring linebacker Danny Trevathan. Offensive tackle Bobby Massey joins the Bears. They pluck him away from the Arizona Cardinals. College hoops in the Big Ten tournament. Illinois outs Minnesota 85-52 on the ice. Blues over the Blackhawks 3-2. The news, a service of Subway and Subway's Simple 6 menu. 6 meals, $6 each, including a 6-inch sub like tuna, chips, and 21-ounce drink. Prices and participation may vary. Additional charge for extras, including deluxe subs, plus applicable tax. See stores for menu selections. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The fight for the Republican presidential nomination has gotten nasty.
I don't think I've ever had so many horrible, horrible things said about me in 1 week.
And with next week's primaries in Florida, Ohio, and Illinois make or break for the remaining candidates.
The winner of the Florida primary next Tuesday will be the nominee of the Republican Party.
You don't want to miss tonight's final debate.
This is a battle to 1237.
Coverage begins at 5 with the Joe Walsh Show, followed by exclusive debate coverage at 7 on your election station, AM 560. The Answer.
I've been teaching organic chemistry for the last 17 years, so I'm pretty good with complex calculations. But when I started thinking about my retirement, I was pretty stumped. Luckily, I have TIAA as my financial partner. Together, we retrosynthetically analyzed my financial future, which is organic chem speak for we figured it out.
See how we're helping those who do good do well at the new TIAA.org. TIAA, created to serve, built to perform.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a free domain with website from GoDaddy.com, starting at $1 a month. Annual purchase of website builder required. Price valid first year only. See website for details.
7:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Like you mentioned, that rollover tank truck blocking the ramp from southbound 355 to westbound I-80 that was carrying liquid nitrogen. The good news is there isn't much of a delay there on southbound 355. Your alternate before I-80, get off on US 6 westbound, take that to Gauger, south to US 30, and east back to I-80. The northbound side of the Veterans Memorial does have a little heavy traffic. It's the routine delay from 63rd to the Reagan Tollway. Eden's inbound, slow Niles Center to the junction. 26 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. The Kennedy is now 42 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 32. The Eisenhower, 49 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 33. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, clear outbound. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown, I-57. 27 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 431. Northbound Tri-State, slow Harlem to 87th. From the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. It's about Adams Tollway stop and go for the Elgin Toll to be 459 with a crash now on the shoulder. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy and cooler with a high of 52. Then tonight, clouds will break with a low of 35. Tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy throughout the day with a high 55 and a mostly cloudy night, low 42. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
44 at O'Hare, 46 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella. Heard each and every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And what we really want to do is to get blocks of companies to come together and put online an education program that if they complete it, that they will be guaranteed an interview with a company that is involved in putting the curriculum together. It's really cool.
If you get indicted, would you drop out?
Oh, for goodness, that is not going to happen. I'm not even answering that question. It is time to unite behind Ted Cruz, ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning. What up, Dan and Amy? So Marco Rubio is on the way out the door. A text from 773. Rubio's next job will be weekend host at Fox Espanol.
Too soon. He's not
Too
even
soon. Yeah.
officially out yet.
No, he's not officially
We're
out
just hearing
yet.
rumblings of that he's going to be dropping out before Tuesday, and that Jeb Bush is going to be endorsing your guy, Ted Cruz.
Well, we'll see about that. And we'll the first part, Marco Rubio saying he's staying in through Florida, probably too late to drop out without doing additional damage to himself. But we talked to Kevin Derby from Sunshine State News last hour, and he basically said what the polls indicate, that it's Trump's to lose at this point, and he expects that Trump will win, and that perhaps with a Jeb endorsement, if that comes to pass, Cruz may end up finishing second in Florida, even ahead of Marco Rubio.
But remind people what it was like yesterday outside of Miami in a high school football stadium. They were expecting a big crowd, and there's enough people. A handful of people showed up, and they were in the end zone. They didn't even need to use the bleachers.
Yes,
it was that bad.
The caption for the picture, I tweeted. Byron York had it, but from the Washington Examiner, but I retweeted it. The caption should be Trump safety, because Rubio tackled in his own end zone at that high school. I don't know, again, in terms of the competence of some of these campaigns, how do you not move the venue when you know
even to the music room or maybe the hallway of the school or something?
When you know that, right, that you're not going to get the crowd anticipated, you have another bad photo op for Rubio, which just, of course, increases the cascading effect that is occurring within his campaign and among his supporters. So that's one. Now, Carly, you heard at the top, Carly Fiorina, we had a rally of Ted Cruz yesterday calling for and exemplifying additional consolidation around Cruz. And there are ads up now. You know, we talked about these ads. Where are the ads that personalize some of these attacks on Trump? Well, there are ads. American Future Fund, which is a super PAC, is running ads about Trump University featuring allegedly some of the Trump University students who are now part of the class action suits against Trump. Here's one.
I spent about $30,000 in Trump University, and basically all it did was ruin my credit and ruin my life. Trump University, they promised everything from start to finish. Their expertise, their knowledge, their input, the financing. They didn't really deliver on anything. You gotta remember, there's 5,000 victims in this. In the end, there's no there. Trump is just a fraud, a misrepresentation, a BS artist. America, don't make the same mistake I made with Donald Trump.
American Future Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
That is awesome.
Now,
but it took so long to get there.
Right, and now Trump has been responding to the barrage of ads he's facing in Florida and Ohio and to some extent in Illinois and Missouri, North Carolina, the other states that are having their primary elections this coming Tuesday. So he's responded to what he is enduring, thus so.
I was watching the news in one of the rooms, and every single advertisement was about me. And it was during my tournament. I'm turning my tournament. I go from tournament to horrible ad. The most vicious ads.
And Trump has turned now. I mean, I could think he thinks he's well positioned to offer this message, which is why he's made the turn, to describing himself as a party unifier and calling for the party to unify around him. Now, the delegate math right now is, Trump needs about 54% of the remaining delegates to get to the magic 1237. Cruz needs about 62%. But if, for example, Trump just wins Florida and gets proportional delegate counts out of the other states, even if he loses Ohio to Kasich, that math starts to get increasingly difficult for Cruz. And, of course, Kasich and Rubio are out of it completely, except unless there was a contested convention. But Trump, the party unifier.
The bottom line is we have something going that's so good. We should grab each other and we should unify the party, and nobody's going to beat us, okay?
So that's the Trump message at present. We'll see if it holds up in tonight's debate. And for more on Trump from the perspective of a Trump supporter,
We're now joined by Dan Gallegos. He is one of the founders of Art of the Deal PAC. It's a super PAC or an independent expenditure PAC. Dan hails from Chicago, a Northwestern grad like myself.
Yay, that's a good thing, Dan.
Good morning.
Yes,
Good
Dan,
morning.
thanks so much for joining us again. We appreciate it.
Yeah, nice to be with you again.
So what do you think of where the race stands now for your guy Trump and specifically his message of unifying the party? Is that even possible?
I think it absolutely is. And if you look at the turnouts, especially in several of these contests, I mean, voter turnouts from 2012 are up 50, 100, 200%. If you look at Virginia, I think it was over 200% increase in the amount of folks turning up at the polls. So it's not because of Kasich. It's not because of Marco Rubio. It's primarily because of Trump, because there's an actual outsider running, somebody who's not part of this political establishment. And I absolutely think that he is broadening the support of the party in general. So if he does win the nomination, and as you mentioned, it's looking increasingly likely, there will be several folks who will be part of the GOP that maybe even in the past weren't.
Now, Donald Trump, of course, is coming tomorrow to Chicago, to UIC Pavilion. Are you going to be meeting with him there, and is he aware of the work that you've done so far?
He's aware. I will be going to the rally, certainly. Can't really say anything beyond that, but definitely will be at the rally, and I'm very excited about it.
And what are some of the things that Art of the Deal PAC has done to try and advance the Trump candidacy here in Illinois or maybe even beyond the state's boundaries?
So primarily back in the fall, we ran some ad campaigns on the Drudge Report, which is, as you know, a great news website for conservatives. We had a billboard actually right by Wrigley Stadium, about a block away. That was really exciting. And beyond that, we run a great Twitter profile, so we encourage everyone to follow us at Art of the Deal PAC. We're thinking about doing some stuff in Illinois in the coming week, but not yet finalized on that.
Well, has it been difficult to raise money for the PAC because of Trump kind of eschewing money, largely self-financing, and in addition to not being a favorite of the kind of traditional GOP donor class?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's definitely not a big money PAC. It's nothing like Jeb Bush. I mean, this is, by and large, a grassroots committee. Really some friends got together, and we created it because we really believe in what Donald Trump stands for, and we think he's going to do great for the country.
So, Dan, you're in your 20s. How do you get people interested? How do you get your friends who are in their 20-somethings interested in a 69-year-old business type?
Are you talking to me or Dan Gallegos?
No, I'm talking about the other Dan. I'm sorry.
The other 20-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but how
okay.
do you get people excited about a 69-year-old?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at his age, I mean, he acts like a 20-year-old. I mean, he has a tremendous amount of energy. I mean, I think if you look at Trump and Bernie next to each other, I mean, I can't believe that only 5 years separates them. It's pretty remarkable. So, I mean, he has a ton of energy, and I think his message is something that everybody can get behind, no matter what age or ethnicity or income level, education level. And I think you've seen in a lot of these states where he's winning broadly across the board with all types of demographics. So it's really a message of unification and a pro-America message.
Is there anything that troubles you about Trump? I mean, for example, I'm a Ted Cruz supporter, but stylistically, I understand why some people have challenges warming up to him. I mean, I understand he's not my favorite stylistically as well. But, on balance, I think he's the best man for the job. Is there anything like that with Trump where you have concerns about anything he said or done in the past or during this campaign? He's still your guy, but you wish he wouldn't do this or that or hadn't done this or that.
Well, I don't have any broad concerns, nothing specific, but I mean, I do think that one of the main positives of Trump is that he's not one of these rehearsed politicians. He doesn't use a teleprompter. He speaks from the heart, and sometimes he maybe says something that he shouldn't, but it kind of comes with the package, so you can't really so on one end you could go with a Marco Rubio who's essentially memorizing every single line he says, but I'd much rather have someone who's speaking from the heart and who maybe once in a while says something that maybe he shouldn't have. But it's really not a big deal for me, and I think that once he wins, it's going to be a stark contrast. He can definitely become a lot more, quote-unquote, presidential. that whole thing is he's had so many people attacking him that he's had to fight back. So I think once he wins the nomination, it's going to be a stark contrast.
Well, do you think you'd rather have him go up against Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders?
Well, I think Hillary. I mean, Hillary is a flawed candidate in so many ways. I mean, she has not only the Benghazi scandal to contend with, she has the massive email scandal, which at this point she may well be indicted for. I think it's unlikely, but it could happen. And even if she isn't, it's still out there. So it's a massive scandal. She, I think, clearly committed illegal activity. So you have those two things. And then on top of that, you have Bill Clinton, who several women have come out and accused him of harassing, sexually. So there's so much content there to go after that I think that once Trump or even Cruz, if he wins, once they start going after her, it's going to be very easy.
If Trump were elected president, what's something you can't wait for him to do?
I think I can't wait for him to build the wall. I mean, first and foremost, he kind of started with that back on June 16th when he announced. I think that this is something that's so easy to do, and it's such a big problem. It's been such a big problem for such a long time. And just the contrast with the Democrats who sound like they don't want to do anything about it. I'm really excited to have someone in who's actually serious about fixing the problem.
Well, I think they do, but they don't want to waste taxpayers' money building a wall that is not going to be effective. Hey, have you been to the border?
I've been around the area, yes.
Okay. I mean, because it's a vast, thousands to almost 2,000 miles, a bunch of different states. It's, I don't know if it'll keep illegals out, but all right.
Well, sure, but I mean, right now you have nothing, so it's got to be better than nothing. I'm not saying it's going to stop at 100%, but if you build a wall and a real wall with real security, and we have several unmanned area vehicles and other things that we could use to bolster that security along the border, in addition to the wall, we could vastly reduce the amount of people coming over. There's no question about that.
All right, he is Dan Gallegos, Art of the Deal PAC. And Dan, what's the Twitter handle or website?
It is Art of the Deal PAC. You got it.
All right, Dan, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, guys.
And he joined us on our turnkey, Top Pro, Build That Wall answer line.
Wrigley Field.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Do you want to tell them it's Wrigley Field, not Wrigley Stadium?
I got a great tweet. I got to get this out.
Yes.
But you're right. A bit of an Obama moment there. Frank J. Fleming tweet, movie pitch. Somehow the two most unlikable people in the country end up as the two presidential candidates, and then they fall in love.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You might like your nice forecast. It's going to be mostly cloudy today, a little bit cooler than yesterday, a high of 52 degrees. Then tomorrow, Friday, sunshine, partly cloudy by the afternoon, but a gorgeous day, a high of 55. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Metro BNSF train 1214 due downtown about 20 minutes ago. It stopped near Laverne. There was a fire in the locomotive. It's been put out. There are also delays on the electric line. Southbound Veterans Memorial, the ramp to westbound I-80 remains closed with a rollover tank truck was carrying liquid nitrogen. Your detour is US 6 west to Gauger, south to 30. Eden's inbound 26 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 20 to Kennedy. Now 40 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 32. The Eisenhower's an hour from Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 39 minutes. Stevenson an hour and 6 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go 31 to be 459. The crash now on the shoulder, then it's heavy, Barrington Road to 53. I'm Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Wrigley Field.
Deciding to take charge of your smile and overcome fear or embarrassment is an important moment. Deciding on who to trust to help you through that process can be life-changing. Sure, you can see who's in your insurance plan or go to the local dentist in your neighborhood, but you and your smile deserve a skilled and experienced dentist with a proven track record. That's why Artistic Dentistry should be your first and only call at 708-301-6060. With more than 30 years of combined experience, Dr. Akrush and his team at Artistic Dentistry understands that each patient's needs are different, and they'll customize a plan that's just for you. Their state-of-the-art facility addresses all your dental needs in one location. From Zoom whitening and regular dental checkups to customized dental implants, Artistic Dentistry can give you the smile you've always wanted. Ask about their free Whitening for Life program. Schedule a free consultation today at 708-301-6060 or donewithdentures.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Republican Michelle Moore is an active member of her church who spends her Tuesday afternoons teaching children our shared values at catechism class. You don't see that much in politics, but Michelle Moore is not your average candidate. Michelle Moore teaches ethics and morals to our children because she believes we need to do the right thing at home, at work, and in public, especially in government. Michelle Moore will bring that honesty and integrity to the DuPage County Board. Michelle Moore is a fiscal conservative who believes we need to cut property taxes. Michelle Moore will work with DuPage County Board Chairman Dan Cronin for accountability, consolidation, and transparency. Michelle Moore will attack the problems of government with the same fervor she brought to felony prosecutions as an assistant DuPage County State's Attorney. Republican Michelle Moore is exactly what we want and need in DuPage County government. Please vote for Republican Michelle Moore on March 15th.
Paid for by citizens for Michelle Moore.
No matter what type of business you're in, having a strong business banking partnership can help your bottom line. I'm Jeff Boundy, president of Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company. We strongly believe that trust, service, and relationship are the cornerstone of a successful business banking partnership. Customers like Robert Weissite of Robert C. Weissite Company agree.
I appreciate the depth of experience my Cornerstone banker brings to the table. Last June, we located a building we wanted to buy for expansion. My Cornerstone banker walked me through everything I could expect to face in advance, from the letter of intent all the way through the day of closing. It went very smooth and predictably and with low stress. He had been through this type of transaction many times, and his years of experience helped me make my purchasing experience predictable, efficient, and successful.
Thanks, Bob. Please visit cornerstonenb.com, or I invite you to give me a call at 847-654-3000 to explore a business banking partnership.
Equal Opportunity Lender. Member FDIC.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, all right. I'm going to take some calls. Got some reaction from our interview with Dan Gallegos from Art of the Deal PAC, a PAC, independent expenditure PAC supporting Donald Trump. How about Vin in Buffalo Grove?
Yeah, Dan, listen, you know, you and Amy fact-checked Trump's steaks and water yesterday. Let me ask you a question. Why don't you ever fact-check Ted Cruz's birther story? There's a Canadian birth certificate on him, but can you produce a document that verifies that his birth was registered in the United States anywhere? Can you produce a document that verifies?
No, Vin, I haven't. I'm not a birther. I wasn't a birther. Thanks for the call, Vin. I wasn't a birther for President Obama. I'm not a birther for Ted Cruz. Somebody wants to produce it, like, say, Donald Trump, then produce it already. Seems like Donald Trump hasn't been able to produce evidence to support that claim any more than he produced evidence to support his claim about President Obama. Embarrassing on both fronts, and the law is very clear on it. The whole idea that we're still talking about whether Ted Cruz is qualified to run for president is preposterous. It's embarrassing for people to actually continue to make that argument, and I don't care if that offends you or not. Dan in Frankfurt, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hello?
Hey, Dan, you're on.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, I think that the American people at large have felt disconnected with their country. And I think Trump brings back a feeling of patriotism, you know, and kind of makes us feel like our voice is being heard.
Yeah.
And I think that's why all these people are coming out to vote for him. And I think a lot of people see him, you know, as a complete package. And just like your family members or your friend, you might overlook some things, you know, because we know he's not perfect, but he's a fighter. He's got a proven history of leadership, and he's a guy who, you know, in a debate, he looks ugly, and so as many candidates. Look back to Lincoln and McCarthy, you know, but when he's in a position like the presidency, he doesn't have to fight like that. He can refocus his energies so that he's still as aggressive, but not having to, you know, defend himself from, you know, shots from every direction. So, I mean, personally, I believe that he'll be one of the greatest presidents of our lifetime.
Well, he
I
said
really
so
believe that.
yesterday. Donald Trump
Thanks
said
for the call, Dan.
so in Fayetteville, North Carolina, Dan. He said, I'm going to have a leadership style. I'm going to be presidential, just like Abraham Lincoln.
Well, I don't know that I'd be prepared to make that comparison, but
He did yesterday.
Dan from Frankfurt is a good example of a rational Trump voter. I disagree with him, but that's a rational case he makes, particularly about his voice not being heard. And what has been the response from the GOP Beltway is to tell people more about what they should do rather than listening to what they're actually saying and replying on point. And this is why the Romney speech propels people to Trump or makes Trump supporters dig in. They completely tone deaf the entire campaign cycle, and they haven't adjusted an iota this entire process. It is really something to witness. Gary and Wilmette, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hello?
Hey, Gary.
My name's Gary. I'm a Kasich supporter, and I think ultimately we want to win in November. And Rubio's concerned about his political future. My thought would be is if Rubio were to drop out, he'd do so before Florida. He endorsed Kasich. Kasich, in turn, says he would pick Rubio for vice president. And then you could even put icing on the cake. And Kasich would say that he would fill the Supreme Court vacancy with Cruz. And, I think that might be the Republicans' best chance against Hillary.
All right. Thanks, Gary.
I hope we can find some inspiration in Abraham Lincoln's words, with malice toward none and for all, let us together and get the of the done.
Tremendous.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I feel great. I've always felt pretty good, but once I started taking them in September, I couldn't have felt any better. Everybody in my household's been sick through the holidays. We've had bad snowstorms here, and I feel great.
This is a wonderful thing. I'm really getting a lot of benefits from it. I'm 70 years old. I'm going to be 71 in April, and I just feel generally much better. I would also say there have been all kinds of colds and flu around me, and I haven't caught any of them. I have arthritis, and that has not been as much as it used to be by a long shot. So it's touched me in many areas.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Speaking of Rubio, we'll talk to an incumbent United States Senator still supporting Marco Rubio. As far as we know, he is Senator Dan Coats from Indiana. That's at 7:37.
And then at 8:08, Pastor Rafael Cruz, Ted Cruz's father, will be here to join us. But first, let's join Mike Scott, who's in the newsroom.
Cloudy and 46 degrees. Winds right now out of the north at 7. Emergency officials in North Louisiana evacuating almost 4,000 homes in Bossier City as the Red Chute Bayou approaches the top of its levee. Amazing amounts of rain, just 3 inches in the last 8 hours, and the bayou could breach that levee as about 12 inches of rain could fall within the next 36 hours. Search is on in Pittsburgh for at least 2 gunmen who opened fire on a backyard party in Wilkinsburg. 5 were killed and 3 others wounded in that shooting. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders have been trying to make the case that they would be better presidential choices for American Hispanics. The 2 candidates' voting records on immigration were the major focus of last night's debate in Miami.
And I also look forward to discussing comprehensive immigration reform with a path to citizenship. That will be one of my priorities in my first 100 days as president.
Meantime, Clinton faulted Sanders for repeatedly voting against a 2007 comprehensive immigration reform bill, while he faulted her for opposing a 2007 effort to let those in the country illegally obtain driver's licenses.
And what I believe right now is not only that we need comprehensive immigration reform, if the Congress does not do its job as President of the United States, I will use the executive powers of that office to do what has to be done.
Thousands of mourners expected today at the Reagan Presidential Library, where Nancy Reagan will lie in repose. A private funeral is scheduled for tomorrow. Some business news we're following this morning. Walmart's decision to downsize is landing it on a list of the 9 companies closing the most stores. Walmart is losing business as Americans shift to online shopping. It's closing 154 locations all across the U.S. over the next year or so. Republican candidates for president focusing on Chicago. John Kasich here yesterday along with Ted Cruz's wife Heidi. Today, Hillary Clinton will be in the Chicago area gathering backing ahead of the state's primary next week at a Get Out the Vote event in Vernon Hills. An investigation continues after a man and woman were found dead in a Joliet auto body shop. Police say the bodies of Michael Oram Sr. and Jamie Willis were discovered yesterday at Fleet Specialty Painting and Auto. Chicago sports, college hoops, Big Ten tournament action. Fighting Illini move on with a win over Minnesota. On the ice, St. Louis winners over the Blackhawks in a shootout, 3-2. The news service of Jewel Osco. Shop Jewel and save some green on asparagus, just $1.25 a pound. Large avocados are 99 cents each, plus double up on 20-ounce packages of fresh Jewel Italian sausage or bratwurst, both at buy one, get one free savings. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather next on AM 560.
America right now is better off than it's ever been. Man, if I thought that, I wouldn't fight.
The Joe Walsh Show.
52% of young people would do away with the First Amendment. We have people being fined and threatened with jail time for exercising their religious freedom. Yes, I am a pessimist, but that's why I fight.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's spring. Time to get catching and cooking. Don't miss Cabela's Spring Great Outdoor Days. Their biggest sale of the season in Hoffman Estates or Hammond and Cabela's.com.
What's your caliber? Black Rhino Concealment knows many AM 560 listeners carry or plan to and want the best holsters for concealed carry, range practice, or competitive shooting. Black Rhinos are comfortable and safe. Every holster is handcrafted by veterans of 100% virgin Kydex with American-made fasteners. From precision fit and finish to secure retention and quick draw, a Black Rhino is the finest holster at a modest price. Backed by a lifetime material warranty and workmanship guarantee, Black Rhino has tactical carrier and concealed carry systems for every caliber. You and your firearm deserve a Black Rhino. The Second Amendment protects our right to bear arms, and Black Rhino protects those arms. Black Rhino Concealment, we hold your caliber against you. Visit blackrhinoconcealment.com or call 847-783-6499 for showroom info. Use the promo code AM560 for a 10% discount on your first order. That's 847-783-6499. You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you, or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Monday, March 14th. Estate planning attorney Robert Sapolis will explain how to create your living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar Monday, March 14th at 6:30 p.m. at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. That's 708-478-1400. Again, 708-478-1400.
7:37 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. The latest on the roads with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Southbound Veterans Memorial, the ramp to westbound I-80 remains closed with a rollover tanker. The delays are northbound from 75th to the Reagan Tollway and Butterfield to Roosevelt. The Edens runs 26 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 24. The Kennedy 50 minutes O'Hare to downtown outbound 32. Eisenhower, 55 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 43. Stevenson, an hour and 6 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Bryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic is a service of Subway. Try the Subway Simple 6 menu. 6 meals, $6 each, including a 6-inch sub, like tuna, chips, and 21-ounce drink. Prices and participation may vary. Additional charge for extras, including deluxe subs, plus applicable tax. See stores for menu selections. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, cooler, 52 today. Clouds will break overnight, 35, leading to a sunny to partly cloudy day tomorrow, high 55. 46 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so Marco Rubio is nearing the end of his campaign, it would appear, barring something
miraculous this evening.
Well, and this evening, leveraging into Tuesday, where he actually somehow manages to win Florida. That doesn't seem likely at this point, and there's additional consolidation happening around Ted Cruz. The only thing that Marco Rubio seems to have going for him in the last few days is the Chicago Tribune endorsed Marco Rubio.
That's
for
huge.
president.
Hey, baby steps.
Yeah, that and $1.75 gets you right on the L. Or is it more than $1.75? It's been a while since I've ridden the L.
You don't take public transportation?
No, absolutely not.
I have no idea. I think it might be. Is it $2.25 now?
No,
I'll check.
I'll borrow your Ventra card if I ever need to use the L.
My son has one.
But there are still those who rallied around Rubio when he showed promise based on, I don't know, second and third place finishes. It's kind of an odd thing.
Second is the new first.
Well, now it's going to have to be fourth as the new first for Rubio. But many endorsed Rubio, politicians in the states subsequent to South Carolina. Hasn't redounded to much benefit. We'll see where this campaign goes. But one of the supporters for Marco Rubio is our friend Indiana Senator Dan Coats, who joins us now. Senator Coats, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
So how are you feeling about the Marco Rubio campaign at this juncture?
Well, it's do or die here on Tuesday. You called it. Unfortunately, he's been on a downward slide here for the past couple of weeks. I think they made a wrong strategy decision in terms of Marco's strategy in dealing with Donald Trump. He tried to get down in the mud with Donald, and as others have found, that doesn't work. And so Marco has taken some real hits for that. It's easy to look back. We can all look back and say, the Bears should have done this, or the Blackhawks should have done that, and the Cubs should have done this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's talented. He was sailing along pretty well on an upward slant, and I think they made one of those strategic mistakes, and it didn't work. And he's got to pull out Florida now, or he's done, in my opinion.
But he's taken ownership for what he did and came out yesterday and said he regrets his personal attacks on Donald Trump. He even had to apologize to his daughters because they were so offended by his behavior. Do you think that's going to help tonight, or maybe he'll have a very strong GOP debate tonight that will put him just a little bit maybe in a more viable position?
Well, I think he is. This is the second time he has apologized, but there's a lot of candidates out there that will never take credit or responsibility for anything, and they'll always blame it on the other person. So I think it's a credit to his character that he has recognized that this is something in the heat of the campaign that caught up with him, and that it was the wrong strategy. It may have been a desperation move by his strategist to say, well, listen, we're not getting there just by being the guy who's going to unite the party. And why I endorsed him was because he did have the numbers that best looked like he could reach out to moderates and even disaffect the Democrats and unite our party, which we need. I mean, there's too much focus, from my perspective, there's too much focus on who the person ought to be rather than who can win in the fall. And I think Republicans right now have two people at the top that basically the polls show are not going to do well in the fall. and two people at the bottom, Rubio and Kasich, that the national polls show would better attract, unite the party and attract moderates and independents. So this is a crazy season. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I've been wrong about 9 straight predictions now. So
well, Marco Rubio has apologized after 2 debate performances. He had to
apologize.
Right. He had to apologize after his he was stuck on repeat in the exchange with Christie, and then after the last debate as well. So maybe it turns out that there's kind of Marco Rubio is a case that is a microcosm of what a lot of people think the GOP leadership in the House and Senate has been, unrealized potential.
Yeah, he's got great potential, but these were 2 major mistakes. He did take responsibility, and I think for it, and made the apology, and I think that shows a sense of character. But this is hardball here that we're playing, and listen, I think he has the qualities to lead our party and to lead the country, but I'm not one of these people who are just going to say, oh, don't worry about this, don't worry about that. I think these are major mistakes, and I think he's paying for it, and the way it looks is it's a do or die in Florida, and it doesn't look all that good.
Speaking of apologies, you think the Beltway Republican leadership owes the electorate one? You think that maybe a little bit of contrition and a little bit of humility about why people are so angry, the things that people feel the GOP leaders have failed to do, or the things they did that they shouldn't have done? If you want to contrast yourself from Donald Trump, wouldn't a little bit of contrition and humility go a long way rather than continuing to chastise Trump supporters to not support Donald Trump?
Frankly, I think the entire establishment here in Washington owes an apology, starting with the president, starting with Harry Reid, and we take responsibility too. We have not delivered to the American people what they have asked, what we promised, and not delivered what the American people expected out of us. I think the only silver lining on this is that I have said from the very beginning, our hope and faith and trust in this government, in this country, it does not lie in Washington. It lies in the hearts and minds of the American citizens, and particularly those who are dealing at the state and local levels of government. Our state has done marvelous things to make us AAA credit rating, and we've got a $2+ billion surplus. Everything we've done has been directly in contrast to what has been not done in Washington. And I think those of us in Washington do need to recognize that we have not delivered. But big government is not the answer to our country's problems here. That's not what made us great, and too many people have leaned for too long on Washington as a solution to everything that happens, and Washington's proved it can't do it.
Senator Coates, if need be, deciding between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, would you obviously vote for Ted Cruz?
Well, as I said earlier, I think the focus ought to be who can win in the fall. We want to overturn 8 years of the Obama administration, and right now it appears among those two, to specifically answer your question, Donald Trump is attracting people that Ted Cruz does not attract. He attracts a hardcore right, and he's got conservative principles and all of that, but when he stacks up in the national election, he falls way down below the Democrats. Trump is bringing a whole range of people out that have never come out before, and there's some thinking that maybe this is a potential game changer, but he's offended as many as he's bringing out, so I don't know how that equation comes out in the end. As I said, I think both Kasich and Rubio had a better chance to put our party in a better position to win in fall.
Well, I think you're right about Trump. Certainly the turnout suggests as much. But with respect to Cruz, I keep hearing this argument about Cruz, and then I look at the RCP polling average, and it's a dead heat between Cruz and Hillary at this juncture. It's not markedly different than Rubio versus Hillary, not markedly different than Trump versus Hillary. So I'm just a little bit baffled by this narrative that Ted Cruz can't win a general election. I don't know what the data is that proves that point.
Well, I don't think you can use the word can't. I'm not trying to use that word. I'm just saying at this particular point, and looking at Ted is moving now out of the South, and he didn't do as well, and he won't do as well, I think, in some future states here. So it kind of looks like Trump is potentially going to run away with it. I mean, he's only one or two elections, primary elections here, Florida and Ohio, from sealing the deal. So that may be something that we have to recognize, and whether we are pro-Trump or anti-Trump, he may very well be our party leader.
Well, so just on that point, because this has been a point of dissension among conservative intellectuals and even some office holders, if Trump wins it fair and square, if he gets to 1237, he's the nominee, is your recommendation that the party fall in line behind the guy who won the nomination process fair and square and is the party's nominee?
Yes, it is, because I think you have to weigh it against the alternative, and I think Hillary brings us someone who the country can't trust, who has been dishonest. She's got some major issues that she's not had an adequate answer to, and I think, and is now pledging to do 8 more years of Obama, and that we look at where that has put this country. So I will go with our Republican nominee, even though he necessarily wouldn't be my first choice.
All right. He is Indiana Senator Dan Coats. Senator Coats, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, Amy, good talking to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
What could revive Rubio, and what do you expect from tonight's debate? Taking your calls next. 312-642-5600. Grab a line. And your forecast looks like this. Mostly cloudy today, as you can tell, but it's cooler than we're used to. A high of 52 degrees. And tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, a few high clouds, no big deal. And just a gorgeous day, a high of 55. Travel times, how's that inbound Kennedy doing, Jim Telemonte?
Plainly, it could be worse. Right now, it's 57 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. The delays are between Nagel and the Burns Circle. The express lane saved nothing. Outbound, 32 minutes downtown to the airport. The Edens, 26 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose. Outbound, 24. The Eisenhower. It's now an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. 46 minutes from Manheim. Outbound, it's 43 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 6 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, fine at 34 minutes. The Ryan is 25 minutes. 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive has southbound delays. Now Bryn Mawr to Fullerton, northbound from 18th to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State heavy from 111th to the Mylong Bridge, from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, then from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway slow Higgins to 53, from the Des Plaines Oasis to Lee. The Reagan Tollway is good. Veterans Memorial southbound, the ramp to westbound I-80 still closed with a rollover tank truck was carrying liquid nitrogen. I'm Jim Talamonte, the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Gentleman, Dan Proft, you may have seen the news story in NBC Nightly News recently about new medical research on the benefits of testosterone treatment. Low T Center and their national medical director was featured. You've been hearing me talk about the Low T Center a lot lately because when it comes to your health, you should go to a medical provider that you can trust and that specializes in testosterone. So I went to Low T Center and met with their medical staff. Their physicians exclusively diagnose and treat men with low T. If you're a man over 40 and have noticed a decline in energy, stamina, or libido, you may have low testosterone. Low T makes you feel tired and grumpy, can raise your cholesterol and cause weight gain. Low T Center's experienced medical staff will educate you on the benefits and risks of testosterone replacement. At Low T Center, their service is covered by most health insurance, and you'll know the results within 45 minutes. So call today, 630-409-4305. Make sure to tell them Dan Proft sent you. That number, 630-409-4305, or go to lowtcenter.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Listen to Donald Trump.
I love the poorly educated.
That's really what Donald Trump is all about. He thinks we're fools. When his Atlantic City casinos went bankrupt, Trump used sleazy bankruptcy laws to avoid paying workers.
I love the poorly educated.
He banned disabled veterans from his high-rise, calling them a detriment to the city.
I love the poorly educated.
He even tried to use eminent domain to kick a widow from her home. Why? Because Trump wanted to demolish her home and turn it into a limousine parking lot for his Trump casino. Donald Trump puts himself first and us last. Defeat Donald Trump.
I love the poorly educated.
Conservative Solutions PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this message. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.conservativesolutionspac.com.
Everywhere you go, the threat looms. It follows you no matter what you do. The longer you avoid the IRS and the financial difficulties you're going through, the closer they get to you. John DeWatt of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm can help you end the feeling of being hunted by the IRS. If you've avoided taxes or could benefit from the life-saving assistance of bankruptcy, it's time you call John DeWatt. This is an attorney who is willing to take on the federal government on your behalf. He has worked to discharge thousands of dollars in penalties, and he can help you settle your debts once and for all. Call 888-777-4193. Let the hunters become the hunted. Let John DeWatt of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm deal with the IRS personally. Call John for your own relief plan. 888-777-4193 or online at thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com. That's thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com.
AM 560, The Answer. AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer. Once, twice, three times a lady. All right, just talked to Dan Coates. He's a dejected Rubio supporter.
Yeah, and he's not really warming up to any candidate, but when push comes to shove, we finally got there, he will be voting for Donald Trump.
Yeah, and if it's Trump versus Cruz, what did he say?
It's Donald Trump.
You think that's what he is?
Oh, yeah, that's what I heard him say. It took a long time for him to get there.
Interesting. Judy and Wilmette, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. I hope they get to the substance tonight with the debate. It's getting frustrating and embarrassing for me as a mom, as my daughter just turned 18 and she got her voter's card right away, and she's been watching not every single moment of the debates, but enough to know and learn. In the last debate, she picked up with, how to call somebody else another name. She just sat there and like, Mom, what is this all about? And I said, I don't know how to explain it this time, sweetie. We just have to keep digging and hope they get to the debate and talk about substance. And I also tweeted both Rubio and Mr. Trump 2 debates ago, and they didn't listen to me. I said, please cut the name calling out. They didn't quite listen for the last debate. So maybe tonight they will listen and we'll get to substance, and she can make an informed decision. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Judy. Now, that's a point of order. You're never too young to learn how to name call. So that's an important service they provided.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer. And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
One argument people make for green energy is that sources like wind and solar are free and forever. But the reality is utilizing sunlight and wind isn't free or automatic. It's not like you can put your iPhone out in the sun and expect it to charge. Using any natural resource requires expensive technology, machinery, and infrastructure. Like any other piece of technology, a windmill or solar panel requires ongoing cleaning, maintenance, and servicing. Sunlight and wind are, in fact, far more expensive to exploit than fossil fuels, which is why they've never achieved significant market penetration. Expensive and temporary doesn't quite have the marketing ring of free and forever, but it's a much more accurate description of green energy. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm your Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brooks Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Do no harm.
It's an oath every doctor takes, and Dr. Nick Stella takes that oath very seriously.
Do no harm.
Obamacare is a disaster. Dr. Stella will fight to put healthcare decisions back into the hands of patients and doctors.
Do no harm.
With the threat of terrorism becoming an everyday reality, Dr. Stella will make national security a priority. And instead of arguing about problems, he'll focus on solutions.
Do no harm.
For too long, politics as usual has invaded Congress. As a practicing cardiologist, Dr. Stella's focus is for positive outcomes, an idea that's been lost in Washington. Washington insiders have failed us on all levels: the economy, jobs, national security, healthcare. Dr. Nick Stella has spent his career helping people improve their lives. Dr. Nick Stella will be the outsider voice we need in Congress. Dr. Nick Stella, Republican for Congress.
I'm Dr. Nick Stella, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Stella for Congress, Inc.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Citadel LLC has an opening for the position of quantitative researcher located in Chicago, Illinois. Job duties for the position include analyzing and solving complex market problems through the use of technology, mathematical and statistical modeling, and computer systems. This is a full-time position. To apply, send resumes by mail to Employee Relations/LW. Attention R0243, Citadel LLC, 131 South Dearborn Street, 32nd floor, Chicago, Illinois, 60603.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're pleased to have Pastor Rafael Cruz in studio. We'll talk about the race. Take your calls at 808.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a former Chicago police superintendent, Gary McCarthy, speaking out about the Laquan McDonald case. And we're tracking severe weather across the South, especially in Louisiana, being slammed by heavy rain. Fox with the latest on that story. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It's a scenario Republicans dream about in the probe into Hillary Clinton's private email while Secretary of State.
If you get indicted, will you drop out?
Oh, for goodness, that is not going to happen. I'm not even answering that question.
That from last night's CNN Univision Democrat debate where Bernie Sanders bristled as not true Hillary Clinton's attack. He didn't support the auto bailout. Sanders also called on Clinton to make public-private speeches to Wall Street donors.
When you get paid $225,000, that means that speech must have been an extraordinarily wonderful speech.
Tonight, Republicans debate again in Florida, where Donald Trump has a 23-point lead in a new Fox poll.
When somebody's attacking you personally and attacking you viciously, I guess they say you should, some people say, just stand up and let them say whatever they want. You're presidential. It doesn't work that way.
Jeb Bush will meet with Ted Cruz today. Two other ex-candidates, Carly Fiorina and Lindsey Graham, now say he's the best anti-Trump choice. John Kasich has a 5-point lead in Ohio on a Fox poll.
I have the experience and the record and the accomplishments, and actually I can bring people together.
There's new intel on ISIS terrorists out today. Fox's Alistair Wanklin has more live.
Dave, a defector giving Fox sister network Sky News a thumb drive that appears to contain ISIS enrollment forms, 22,000 names, pseudonyms and contact details for the fighters' families. German authorities say they have similar files. Analysts call it a major intelligence win, the defector saying he stole the memory card and fled because the group has lost its Muslim foundations. He says it's now run by former Saddam Hussein loyalists. Dave?
Alistair, Pennsylvania police keep searching for two gunmen who ambushed a backyard party last night near Pittsburgh, murdering 5 people, wounding 3. Torrential rain keeps pouring on parts of the South. 3,500 homes have been evacuated in Bossier City, Louisiana, as a bayou rises near the top of a levee. This man's sandbagging in Baton Rouge.
Better to be safe than sorry.
3 people have died in Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma. There's also been flooding in Arkansas. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
A gray start to your morning, 8:02 on AM 560 The Answer. We have 45 degrees. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Hillary Clinton in the Chicago area campaigning today. gathering support ahead of next week's state primary in Vernon Hills. Meantime, Republican candidates for president focusing on Chicago this week with the Illinois primary looming. Yesterday, Ted Cruz's wife Heidi appeared before the City Club of Chicago, and John Kasich told an audience in Lisle he has no intention of dropping out and health care reforms need to be a priority.
We are going to incentivize with rewards to people who produce high quality at lower prices below the midpoint. See, we want to begin to drive health care, put downward pressure on it.
Meantime, Chicago public school principals have been told to stop spending because the district is short on the cash needed to keep operating for the remainder of the school year. Former Chicago Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy is speaking out publicly for the first time since he was fired. McCarthy discussing the Laquan McDonald case on campus at Harvard University during a crime forum.
All the things that people wanted from police oversight and outside investigatory agencies exists. And at the end of the day, they didn't like the results. And somebody had to take the fall. Somebody had to take the hit. Hi.
McCarthy noting murders have gone up significantly since he was let go in December. A federal judge hearing the dispute over the proposed Lucas Museum scolded the city of Chicago for being slow to provide documents to a lakefront protection group trying to block the project. The judge, John Dara, pointed out the city said last week that time was a factor and the city wanted to start construction and move up timetables even before the suit was settled. Bears move quickly on day one of NFL free agency, signing free agent linebacker Danny Trevathan. In the Big Ten basketball tournament, Fighting Illini over the Golden Gophers, 85-52, and on the ice, Blues over the Blackhawks, 3-2 in a shootout. The news, a service of Whole Foods Market. Save today at your local Whole Foods Market. Organic strawberries, $3.33 per pound through this Tuesday. And get responsibly grown asparagus for just $1.99 per pound. Visit Whole Foods Market, America's healthiest grocery store. It's 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Turnkey.pro. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, you could be squeezing into your seat if you wind up on a United Airlines retrofitted 777 wide-body plane. United is changing 19 of those planes to seat 10 passengers across instead of 9. United says it is not changing the seats on international flights. Drugstore chain CVS is starting an aggressive anti-smoking campaign. It's going to spend $50 million over the next 5 years. The campaign will include social media, videos, graphics, and after-school programs. It's aimed at warning young people about the dangers of smoking. What will happen to Dos Equis now that the most interesting man in the world has been let go? Heineken, which owns Dos Equis, admits that sales of the beer tripled since those ads featuring actor Jonathan Goldsmith debuted in 2007. The company says it wants to appeal to a new generation of beer drinkers. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 in Chicago. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
You don't win by accident.
It's the Dave Ramsey Show.
So this is your year to win. You don't get out of debt. You don't save your marriage by accident. You don't increase the quality of your marriage by accident. You don't raise great kids accidentally. These are intentional acts that you make choices on the variables in your environment and you form and control your life.
Make the most of your money and get out of debt. He's Dave Ramsey, tonight at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
I recently received my doctorate in astronomy, so mapping trans-Neptunian planets is a cakewalk. But tracking the trajectory of my financial future? Not so much. Fortunately, I've got TIAA. They helped me figure out a long-term personalized plan for my finances that I'm, well, over the moon about.
See how we're helping those who do good do well at the new TIAA.org. TIAA, created to serve, built to perform.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a free domain with website from GoDaddy.com, starting at $1 a month. Annual purchase of website builder required. Price valid first year only. See website for details.
8:07 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Southbound Veterans Memorial, the ramp to westbound I-80 remains closed. Towers are trying to clear a tank truck that rolled over earlier. Northbound, the delays on 355 are from 75th to the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to 290. Eden's inbound, 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 26. The Kennedy, 53 minutes. O'Hare to the Loop outbound 31. The Eisenhower's an hour and 9 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, 51 minutes from Manheim outbound 43 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 6 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive outbound fine. The Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive, slow southbound Bryn Mawr to Fullerton, northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Southbound Tri-State stop and go 21 to Pasto Plain. The crash in the left lane. Then from the O'Hare Oasis to near the Grand Avenue curve, there's a car fire on the left side. Northbound delays, 115th to 31st, 290 North Avenue, and from the Bensonville Bridge to Balmoral. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
A mostly cloudy day today with a high 52, then clouds break tonight, low 35. Sunny to partly cloudy tomorrow, high 55, and a mostly cloudy night, low 42. Then a couple of showers Saturday and Saturday night with a high of 57 and a low 48. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
45 at O'Hare, 47 along the lakefront. Next news coming up at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
And what we really want to do is to get blocks of companies to come together and put online an education program that if they complete it, that they will be guaranteed an interview with a company that is involved in putting the curriculum together. It's really cool.
If you get indicted, would you drop out?
Oh, for goodness, that is not going to happen. I'm not even answering that question. It is time to unite behind Ted Cruz, ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the United States.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. And Amy, you just heard at the top there, Carly Fiorina, big endorsement yesterday for Ted Cruz. She was at a rally with him saying that it's time for the party to unite around Cruz. Also, Ted Cruz was in North Carolina, part of these competing town halls Fox News Channel did, in which he was interviewed by Megyn Kelly, a raucous crowd, and he had some good news about tonight's debate.
You said the campaign has gone to the gutter. What do you make of it?
Well, listen, I think everyone is fed up with personal insults, with just ad hominem attacks. Listen, I have no views whatsoever on any part of Donald Trump's anatomy.
So it'll be anatomy free.
Thank
Thursday
goodness,
night GOP debate.
I can't stomach any more discussion of Donald Trump's anatomy either. We're pleased now to be joined in studio by the man who taught Ted Cruz everything he knows. He's Ted Cruz's dad, Pastor Rafael Cruz. Pastor Cruz, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, great to be with you and Amy. I don't know that I taught him everything he knows. I don't believe that.
Well, I mean, I guess the story is he memorized the Constitution when he was in the womb, right?
Well, he memorized the Constitution at 13 years old, but I didn't have anything to do with that. We introduced him to an organization called the Free Enterprise Institute. First, he was reading authors like Adam Smith and John Locke and von Mises and Hayek and Bastiat and Milton Friedman.
The kind of reading that every pre-adolescent does.
Every 13-year-old does.
Yeah.
But then this group created a group of 5 kids. They called them the Constitutional Corroborators. Ted was one of those 5. They hired a memory expert and got those 5 kids to memorize the Constitution. And for the next 4 years, my son Ted gave approximately 80 speeches on free market economics economics and the Constitution.
At the age of 13?
From 13 to 17.
I mean, Amy, he must have had to beat off the girls because nothing
is
gets
hotter
girls
and
than
sexier.
free market
Yeah.
economics.
I mean, that's
yeah.
good.
Oh.
Well, I met some of his high school buddies not too long ago, and they said, Ted was kind of weird. While we talked about football, he talked about Ronald Reagan.
Well, so what do you think of this large growing of coalition behind your son? Obviously, Glenn Beck, Carly Fiorina. Word is today that Jeb Bush might be supporting your son publicly for the first time.
I have not heard that. That's news to me, but that's welcome news. Sounds great. Well, I think what happens is it's to quickly become a two-man race. I think it is obvious now that it's going to be Trump and Cruz, and the sooner we get to a two-man race, the sooner we're going to get somewhere. I think what happens is people of faith, conservative, constitutionalists, are realizing that they have to coalesce about the one candidate that can just take America forward. And that candidate, I'm convinced, is my son, Ted Cruz.
It's interesting. There's been some pushback on Cruz saying, well, he's too focused on religion. He speaks too much about the Judeo-Christian values upon which this nation was founded, that it limits his appeal. An interesting tweet I just got from Rob Jawar. I'm an atheist, and I made over 300 phone calls yesterday for Ted Cruz. BS, he doesn't reach a range of voters. And I wonder, since you speak a lot about this matter of Christians getting involved in the political process, how you respond to this idea that Ted Cruz has a limited reach because of his focus on traditional values and constitutional principles.
Well, I think this tweet that you received speaks volumes about it. Ted is a champion of religious freedom. Now, the First Amendment of the Constitution gives us freedom of religion, and that means you also have the freedom not to believe, or the freedom to believe whatever you want to believe, and the government needs to stay away from our spiritual life, actually from our lives altogether. I mean, like Ronald Reagan said it, government is not the solution. Government is the problem. We don't need more government. We need less government. And one of the things that my son wants to do in the White House is cut down the size, power, and scope of the federal government, just restrict it to what the Constitution says. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution only enumerates 18 powers to the federal government. Anything that is not in Article 1, Section 8, the federal government has no business being involved in, and all those powers should go to the states.
See, you were playing possum. You memorized the Constitution, too.
Well, a little bit.
I think he taught you the Constitution. So you said he wants to cut down the size of government. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go back to the Constitution. Did he teach you about the Constitution?
Absolutely. I actually got involved in the Constitution from being inspired by him and going to all these speeches where he had memorized the Constitution. And actually, prior to that, when Ted was 9, I was very involved in the Reagan campaign. And I helped mobilize millions of people of faith to help elect Ronald Reagan, whom I consider the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln, And so when my son was 9, he got a dose of conservative politics from a Christian worldview every day for a year at the dinner table. So that was his indoctrination into conservative politics. And of course, the Free Enterprise Institute, those 4 years immersed in the Constitution and in free markets and limited government and the rule of law, shaped his life.
And you're getting a dose of indoctrination into Illinois politics. The last day, you were at an African-American church in Dalton, in Bensonville yesterday. You're leaving here and you're going to central and southern Illinois. So you're doing a lot of campaign stops on behalf of your son, Senator Cruz. And I wonder what you find most enjoyable about traveling the country, being a surrogate for your son, and what you find least enjoyable about the process.
I think the most enjoyable thing is meeting people. America is such a wealth of different personalities, different people, different ideas. And I'm a people person, just like my son. I enjoy being with people and getting to know people. Life is all about relationships. And the more relationships we can have, the more people we get involved with, the more we understand one another. I would say the thing that is the least enjoyable is the grueling timetable. Sometimes, we go 26 hours a day.
And from here, you're going to Missouri.
That's correct. And then to North Carolina.
Wow. And sometimes you said you wake up and you don't know what state you're in or what city.
That's right. That's right.
Traveling so
Well,
much.
it's a different hotel every night.
Keeps you sprying on your toes.
Absolutely.
So, where do you see the race in a Ted Cruz versus Donald Trump choice? What's the value proposition of that choice? A vote for Ted Cruz as compared to Donald Trump is a vote for what?
I would say, first of all, if you look at Trump, you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting because nobody knows what he believes. I mean, he changes from day to day. He even says, well, I can change. I change all the time. I can change to anything I want. I can change in a moment. I think Jimmy Carter put it clear when he said, well, you know, if I had to choose between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, I would choose Trump because Trump is malleable. That means you can mold him into whatever you want. And he said then, but you know that guy, Ted Cruz, he really believes what he says. So I think that's the great difference. Ted is a constitutional conservative. With Ted, you know exactly what you're going to get. Ted has done 100% of what he said he was going to do before he got elected. So you can take his word to the bank. I think it boils down to one word, and that word is trust. You can trust Ted to do what he said he's going to do.
We're talking to Pastor Rafael Cruz, father of presidential candidate Ted Cruz. Can we hold you over for 1 minute and take some calls? We've got some callers, I think, that want to talk to you as well. Why don't we do that, and we'll come back and take your calls with Pastor Rafael Cruz.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Your phone call's coming up next. 312-642-5600 is the call line, and here's your forecast for today. Mostly cloudy, cooler, a high of 52. The average high this time of year, Pastor Cruz, is 43, so this is really nice for us. And tomorrow's going to be perfect. It's going to be plenty of sunshine, clouds by the afternoon, a gorgeous day, a high of 55. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Southbound Veterans Memorial Tollway, the ramp to westbound I-80 still closed with that tank truck that rolled over earlier this morning. It was carrying liquid nitrogen. Tow trucks are at the scene. There's no real delays southbound, but northbound it is slow from 63rd to the Reagan Tollway and Lake to 290. Eden's inbound, 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26th. Kennedy, 53 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 28. Inbound Eisenhower, an hour and 7 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, 47 minutes from Manheim, outbound 41 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 6 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is 25 minutes, 95 to downtown. Tri-State southbound, slow Washington to Pasto Plain with a crash in the left lane. Then from Lawrence to before the Grand Avenue curve, there was an earlier car fire there. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Lex Howard, CEO of Balance of Nature. I occasionally take new customer calls, and often people tell me that they have been hearing our advertisements for years. What are you waiting for? Start now and begin experiencing the benefits of Balance of Nature in your life.
I actually believe that it is working because I went to have my thyroid TSH level checked and my T3 and 4, and in October originally it was at 3. My TSH was at 3.28, and Monday's test came out to 0.63. I do believe that it has something to do with it.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing, independently owned business bank. Signature Bank listens to your story, learns about your business, and sticks with their customers. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. As native Chicagoans, my partners and I know this city, its economy, and the challenges that small businesses face. We like to think of Signature Bank as your hometown bank. Chicagoans helping Chicagoans. We understand that banking is ultimately about people, and we build long-term, lasting relationships with our customers. We stand by our customers, and our customers stand by us, and we welcome new customers every day. We look forward to welcoming you and your business into the Signature Bank family.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Winter weather is here, and this season's roller coaster ride and temperatures can be especially taxing on your business's mechanical HVAC system. That's why it's important to schedule a comprehensive review of your system today with Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For more than 80 years, Air Comfort has maintained hundreds of businesses' HVAC systems throughout Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. Why do they trust their mechanical systems to Air Comfort? It's simple. Because they understand that Air Comfort has the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as an MSCA Star Contractor, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a large service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900, or online at aircomfort.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy are talking to Pastor Rafael Cruz, father of Ted Cruz. And Pastor Cruz, I don't know how to break it to you, but there's a lot of people who think you may have a political career ahead of you. I like Ted Cruz, but I love his dad. Text from 779, not a Cruz supporter, but his dad sounds like a really good guy and with a cool accent. You should narrate Ted's ads. So maybe a voiceover career, maybe a political career.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm having a lot of fun just traveling around the country, meeting people, and making the case why Ted Cruz should be our next president.
And it's real quick a great story how Ted met Heidi when they were both working for Bush.
Absolutely. Ted was domestic policy advisor for George W., and she was economic policy advisor, and Ted got stung the day she came to work. And he says it took him 3 days to get up the courage to ask her for a date. Oh. And 5 months later, they were married.
Wow.
Great. And 6 marriages came out of that campaign?
Eight marriages came out of the marriage.
Yeah, right. The Ted Cruz joke, right?
Yeah, he said, I don't know whatever may say, for us, W would always be a uniter and not a divider.
Right. Now, to that point, and because Ted Cruz, he shows humor, he's kind of a dry sense of humor, which I appreciate. But there's so much been said about Cruz that he isn't liked in D.C. and he's not a likable person and all that. How do you respond to those charges?
Let me tell you why he isn't liked by some of the people in the Senate, in the House, and it is this. Unfortunately, there are too many corrupt politicians in both parties. They want the gravy train to continue. They want to preserve the status quo. And you probably heard my son say that he is running against the Washington cartel. All these corrupt politicians in both parties. And they don't want anything to change. You know, we got people in the Senate that have been there for 30 years, and they want to be there another 20. They don't want to relinquish that power. We need to change. You know, too many politicians think that we work for them, when in reality they work for us. One of the things that I love about my son, he truly has a servant's heart. He understands servant leadership. He wants to go to the White House to be a servant of we the people, a servant of every America. He understands that that's its role, to work for the American people, not the other way around.
Yeah, it's a little bit esoteric, but that's how I view Trump versus Cruz, philosopher king versus servant leader. And there's a big difference. And by the way, in terms of broad appeal, I mean, Ted Cruz has the support of Caitlyn Jenner and me.
Yeah.
I mean, can't get more, can't get bigger tent than that. All right, let's go to the lines. Let's go to Sean in Elmwood Park. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hello,
Mr. Cruz,
Sean.
it's really a privilege. It's a privilege to speak to you. And I have to tell you, I've been appreciated your son for the fundamental capitalist and the originalist views he has since he beat Bush's handpicked stooge for the Senate seat he now holds. Now, it is in that problem that we have, that blind allegiance to a party that has allowed the bastardization of capitalism and the erosion of the citizens' civil liberties. So with that being said, in the event he is not the nominee, I will not support Trump under no circumstances. And I am going to ask you to ask your son to run as an originalist, to run as a third party, because, Mr. Cruz, it is through us compromising our fundamentals that has led this to this path where senators like Mitch McConnell are worth $40 million, where they collaborate with Harry Reid, where they go and become lobbyists after their careers.
All right,
we
Sean.
need this to stop.
All right, Sean. Thanks for the call and the question. The question about running as a third party if he's not the nominee.
Let me say this: I do not like the idea of a third party because having a third party is handing the presidency to Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton will destroy this country. So I think the idea of a third party is really a bad idea. But I'll tell you what. My son is not running to lose to Donald Trump. If it gets to a two-man race, the polls show that Ted would beat Donald Trump by 17 points. So we're running to win. We're not running to see Donald Trump in the White House, but to see Ted Cruz in the White House. And if it gets to be a two-man race, Ted Cruz will be the next president of the United States of America.
All right, Kent in Montgomery, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Pastor Cruz, your son has my vote.
Thank you,
but
sir.
If we can see a cruise ticket as a true Chicagoan, you will get 2 votes from me.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Thanks,
that's in the first place, that's unconstitutional. You cannot have the president and the vice president from the same state. That is not constitutional. So, and actually,
the Constitution.
And actually,
relocate to Oklahoma.
I'm having too much fun just supporting him and seeing him rise. I think that he would make a wonderful president, and I know he would abide by the Constitution and the rule of law. And as I said a minute ago, he will be a servant to every American man, woman, and child, and get the heavy boot of the federal government from off their necks so that people can achieve their dreams by cutting down taxes, cutting down regulations, and just allow everyone to fulfill their dreams.
Don't you think he would make a great U.S. Supreme Court justice? I mean, just and the chance that Donald Trump wins, I was hoping he would be that or Attorney General.
Well, obviously, he's a constitutionalist. Like, so is Mike Lee. And so is Rand Paul. They are the 3 strong constitutionalists in the Senate. But I'll tell you what, my son is running to win. And if people of faith, if people of courage, if conservatives, constitutionalists, people that want to see their dreams fulfilled and see an environment in America where everyone can achieve their dreams and live their children and grandchildren a better America, the man that can help provide the environment for that to occur is Senator Ted Cruz.
Let's squeeze another caller in. We got Pat in Midlothian. Hey, Pat.
Hi, Mr. Cruz. Or Reverend Cruz, I just want to let you know I am so behind your son. It's about time we have somebody who has a respect for the Constitution, and I plan on working the phones for him in Homer Glen this weekend.
Well, thanks you so very much. I'll tell you what, we need to all unite. The Bible says in Acts 1:14 that those 120 that were in the upper room were together in one accord. We must be in one accord. I want to ask every person in the state of Illinois to coalesce around Senator Ted Cruz. If we unite, we will get America back to what America was destined to be, a land of opportunity for every American, without distinction, that everyone will have the opportunity to see their dreams realized. There's so many young people that feel that when they finish college, they're going to have to go home because they can't find a job. How about if that changes? And by getting rid of taxes and regulations and the interference from the federal government, someone leaves college with a half a dozen job offers. And we see entrepreneurship again create millions upon millions of new jobs by creating small businesses. I tell you, that is the environment that Ted Cruz will provide for every American.
All right. He is Pastor Rafael Cruz, father of Ted Cruz. Pastor Cruz, thanks so much for joining us today. Safe travels as you make your way throughout Illinois and into the other states that primary on Tuesday.
Thank you, Dan and Amy. Great to be with both of you. And God bless you, and God bless America, and God bless the great state of Illinois.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Republican Michelle Moore is an active member of her church who spends her Tuesday afternoons teaching children our shared values at catechism class. You don't see that much in politics, but Michelle Moore is not your average candidate. Michelle Moore teaches ethics and morals to our children because she believes we need to do the right thing at home, at work, and in public, especially in government. Michelle Moore will bring that honesty and integrity to the DuPage County Board. Michelle Moore is a fiscal conservative who believes we need to cut property taxes. Michelle Moore will work with DuPage County Board Chairman Dan Cronin for accountability, consolidation, and transparency. Michelle Moore will attack the problems of government with the same fervor she brought to felony prosecutions as an assistant DuPage County State's Attorney. Republican Michelle Moore is exactly what we want and need in DuPage County government. Please vote for Republican Michelle Moore on March 15th.
Paid for by Citizens for Michelle Moore.
Cloudy skies, 46 degrees, 8:32 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton says it's painful to see comments from voters who don't believe she's trustworthy. Clinton again last night at a debate format in Miami, calling her email practices when she was Secretary of State simply a mistake.
The best choice. I made a mistake. It was not prohibited. It was not in any way disallowed. And as I've said, and as now has come out, my predecessors did the same thing, and many other people in the government.
Marco Rubio brushing off rumors he's going to drop his bid for the White House before Florida's primary. Speaking before a small crowd in Hialeah, Florida, the GOP hopeful assured followers he would be on the ballot next Tuesday.
Now there are people spreading rumors that we're going to end our campaign. Let me tell you something. I will be on that ballot on Tuesday. I will campaign as hard as it takes. We are going to the White House. We are going to win this nomination.
Donald Trump leads two of his GOP rivals in their home states less than a week before the primaries. However, University of Virginia Center for Politics Director Larry Sabato says Ohio Governor John Kasich really could win Ohio over Trump.
Kasich has a much better chance of winning Ohio than Marco Rubio does of winning Florida. One would expect him to win his home state. The last popularity rating I saw for him as governor of Ohio was 62%.
5 are dead, 3 more hurt after a shooting at a home near Pittsburgh. The 4 women and 1 man shot were killed at a backyard barbecue in the suburb of Wilkinsburg. We're watching heavy thunderstorms drench and impact some 25 million Americans. Forecasters call it historic flooding. Drenching storms, large hail, and tornadoes pounding Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas all week. Our time is 8:34. Chicago sports finding the Bears bolstering their defense with the addition of free agent linebacker Danny Trevathan. Bulls guard Jimmy Butler getting a second opinion on his injured knee, while the Fighting Illini move on in the Big Ten basketball tournament with a defeat of Minnesota, 85-52. The news is a service of Aurora University Online Learning. Pursue your passion with a degree from Aurora University Online. Choose from fully online programs in accounting, business, education, justice, general studies, integrated communication, nursing, and social work. To learn more, visit online.aurora.edu. 8:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Even after a win in Nevada, Mike Gallagher isn't ready to call Trump the nominee.
The establishment, make no mistake, these guys do not like Donald Trump. They do not like Ted Cruz. But these guys are saying it looks like it's going to be Trump. You're not going to be able to stop Trump. And I have to confess, I don't see that right now. And I wonder if that's not a bit of a game that they're playing. Because there's a lot of gamesmanship, let's face it.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Business moves at the speed of trust. Trust in your product, and just as imperative, trust in those that represent your business. For almost 3 decades, Flex Execs has helped their clients become more competitive by recruiting and vetting qualified experts for short-term assignments in HR, accounting, marketing, and operations. Need individual consultants or project teams from staff level to the executive suite? Flex Exec's talented consultants are superior and unmatched. Whether you require interim experts or have regular positions to fill, Flex Exec's professional recruiting organization will help you meet your deadlines, control costs, and place the people you need for maximum business results. Business moves at the speed of trust. Trust the people that represent your business. You can't afford not to. Connect online with Flex execs at flex2016.com or call Chris at 630-655-0563, extension 2. Flex2016.com or call Chris at 630-655-0563, extension 2.
8:37 is our time in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. And Aurora Galena is closed between Highland and 31 due to a crash with injuries. Southbound Veterans Memorial, the ramp to westbound I-80 still blocked with a rollover tanker. Eden's inbound, 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound, it's 23 minutes as well. The Kennedy, 53 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 28. The Eisenhower, an hour. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 36 minutes. Stevenson, an hour. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound fine. Ryan is 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State delays from the 95th Street area to the Hinsdale Oasis. Then 290 to North Avenue. Southbound, it's heavy from Lawrence to before the Grand Avenue curve. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Jim in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center, and Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Cloudy and cooler today, high 52. Clouds breaking, low 35 overnight. 45 right now. Next news coming up at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Live with Andrew Holmes. Get honest answers to your questions every Sunday at 12 noon.
Listen to podcasts of Joe Walsh and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
A lot of responses still pouring in from our interview with Pastor Cruz we just concluded. Text from 708. He's setting the bar pretty high for the rest of us dads who believe our kids can be president. That's pretty funny. 773, what an inspiring man. Thank you, Pastor Cruz. 872, mail my ballot with vote for Cruz. And on Wednesday, we'll flee Illinois for Nevada. Good luck. Or where have I heard that before? And, of course, a Trump supporter, crybaby Trump supporter, 708. Slobbering Cruz Love Fest, couldn't take it. Yeah.
But even if you're not supporting the candidate, you should also listen to see if you want to vote for that person. Because I'm not behind Ted Cruz yet. Maybe I will be, maybe I won't. I'm still undecided. But listening to Pastor Rafael Cruz, I mean, you want to support him, and you want to support. You learn more about his son and how he was raised and what kind of a man raised him. Well, and that speaks volumes.
Yeah, that's right. And, the passion that is palpable. You can kind of feel it through the radio. I've heard him give interviews before, not with us. And you know what that comes from, I think? Somebody who was persecuted in a totalitarian state, Cuba, and fled for freedom and truly recognizes the difference between despotism and freedom and has an appreciation for it that only somebody who's been through those experiences can have, truly, I think.
He has a love of country, and he has a love of family. And I was talking about his oldest daughter. She passed away from a drug overdose.
Right.
And during the commercial, his eyes welled up with tears. And Ted Cruz, his son Ted, only son, took a very active role in his nephew's life once his sister passed away and helped him get on his feet, got him an apprenticeship. Now he works at a chocolate factory in Pennsylvania, and he's going to survive. But, she died as a single mom, and her son found him, and they did what they could. They, came together as a family to help him.
Well, and this is why, Ted Cruz is a general election candidate, and this is the argument he can't win a general because we've gone round and round about this. I haven't heard a particularly compelling argument yet. But this is where Ted Cruz and a lot of Trump supporters intersect. And that is, these are people who... most Trump supporters, I think, as well as Ted Cruz, they genuinely love the country. They genuinely get it. They know where we need to return to, what we need to do to kind of take this country back from the slouching towards Gomorrah, to borrow a Borkism, that has occurred over the past 8 years, over the past 15 years, over the past 25 years. And this is why I think if Cruz were the nominee, and again, I'm predicting he won't be, but it's still possible. If Cruz were the nominee, then I think he would coalesce most of the Trump supporters behind him in a matchup of Hillary, and you have that base plus strategy. You have the increased turnout for the Republican candidate that you're seeing in primaries translate in the general. And I think Cruz is the only candidate in the race other than Donald Trump that could have that appeal, but he doesn't have all the downside problems that Trump has.
Yeah, but when you look at Ted Cruz and Donald Trump, I mean, you know who the smarter candidate is. You know who you trust more. But Donald Trump is selling the message better. Or I know you said it's not a vote, it's a movement. For me, it's almost like a cult. The people that are following Donald Trump.
It's a psychological appeal. I mean, at the end of the day,
or it's that. Thank you. Yes.
Well, but I mean, yeah, I don't think it's a cult. I mean, I don't think that.
I don't know. I feel like my family members are getting brainwashed.
Well, I think there's an appeal to populism, or appeal of populism. We saw it in 2008, where a lot of people got snookered. And perhaps we're seeing it in 2016. I think we are on the other side with a different disaffected population. But they think that, I think a lot of Trump supporters think that the D.C. Beltway GOP have not listened to them. And the response to their revolt is stop complaining and do what we say. I mean, the tone deafness of the response, by and large, just feeds the revolt. And so I understand that. And I understand the appeal of Trump, that you feel like this guy, whatever his foibles and failings, is going to put in the fight for you, and he's not going to take guff from anybody. I think Ted Cruz is a more understated and authentic version of what you're looking for, but this is where the disagreement comes in. Mm-hmm. And, it will be interesting, as Pastor Cruz was saying, what will happen if this does coalesce or essentially drill down to a two-man race. I'm not sure that it's going to be soon enough if it has to happen after Tuesday, because if Trump has another big day on Tuesday, and he's poised to do that right now, then I just think the bandwagon effect. You can look at polls down the road. You can look at Cruz versus Trump matchup in a vacuum, but you have to factor in the bandwagon effect. And if Trump wins Florida and he has good performances in Missouri and Illinois and North Carolina, even if he loses Ohio, it is going to be seen that he is the presumptive nominee, and there's a bandwagon effect that accompanies that. I think it'd be very difficult to stop Trump at that point. Oh, let's go to Charlotte in Arlington Heights.
Hi. Did you mention that Ted Cruz actually defended the Bill of Rights successfully? First Amendment, religious freedom case before the U.S. Supreme Court, and the Second Amendment right to bear arms. It's not just, what he says. It's what he actually has done in the past. Plus, by the way, do you know who endorsed him? Evangelical, very respected leader. Jim Dobson, Focus on the Family, founded the radio show that's been going on for 2 decades. He endorsed Ted Cruz for family values, his belief in the sanctity of human life.
Right, a lot of evangelical leaders did in Iowa, which helped put him over the top in Iowa to get this ball rolling. That's right.
But have you heard the fact that James Dobson has endorsed him?
Yeah.
Okay. Plus, by the way, as far as firsts go, he was the first Hispanic senator from the state of Texas, and he was the first Hispanic to win a presidential primary, that is in Iowa, or caucus. But so a lot of firsts with Ted Cruz.
Thanks for the call, Charlotte. Oh, Kent in the Loop.
Hey, good morning, guys. First, I agree with you 100%. I think that Ted Cruz is electable, as well as Donald Trump, I feel, is electable. I just feel that Donald Trump's more electable. And I also feel that, I support Ted Cruz. I supported Rubio, all of these guys. I think most of the people that support Donald Trump support Ted Cruz. I think, you have to, unless you're a liberal in a liberal state and you support Donald Trump for different reasons. If you're a conservative, you got to support Ted Cruz as well as Donald Trump if you support Donald Trump. And the last thing I wanted to say is your caller, Sean, must really he must be a history professor or have no kids, because, we're past the point of living ideologically. The country's on the verge of collapsing, from what we've lived through with Barack Obama. And if we don't save it now by any means possible, it's through. So, there is no third party here.
Thanks for the call, Kent. And Sean from Elmwood Park has never before been accused of being a history professor.
No, never.
That will be the last time. Kathleen in Evanston.
Hi, good morning. Love you both.
Thank you.
Real quick, I just want to say I wish Ted Cruz had his father's charisma.
Yeah.
But secondly, scary as I think a Trump presidency would be, what worries me more is the establishment trying to circumvent the system. I love and have always respected Romney, but I thought what he did was a huge mistake. This country was founded as a government for the people, of the people, by the people. The people are speaking, and, I think the value of our country should certainly be a priority over the value of our party. And I've been a Republican my whole life, but I'm really disappointed that, they got to let the people speak, and they burned their own bridge by not listening to the people. They were elected to stop Obamacare, to, stop all the crazy spending, to defund the president's plan to bring in all those illegals. And now, the roost, they're coming back home to roost, or whatever that saying is.
Thank you.
It's their own fault, and the country is far more important than the system, than the party.
Thanks for the call, Kathleen, and great Jeremiah Wright impersonation. Lane from Aurora, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning. Listening to you folks now instead of another station, but I get a little bit upset with you guys in that, you're calling people that support Trump cult people, comparing us to people that supported Barack Obama. I've been an account executive for a major technology company for 35 years. My husband's a national sales manager for an international company. We are not cult people. We just support someone that we believe can get something done. I like Ted Cruz. If he's the nominee, I will support him. But what has he really done? What has Marco Rubio really done or accomplished?
Different
Look
records.
what Trump has done.
I mean, they're different records, to be sure. I mean, Ted Cruz has argued successfully before the Supreme Court 9 times. I mean, that's accomplishing something.
Yeah?
Is the Supreme Court...
But he's also been in the Senate, and what has he done?
Well, he stood up against leadership.
Everybody's tried, haven't they? But the only person that is on the ballot right now with a record of looking at something and getting it done is Donald Trump, and that is why we are supporting them. We're salespeople, too. We understand that we're driven by results. That's why we're supporting Donald Trump. If Ted Cruz becomes the candidate, absolutely.
Okay.
Marco Rubio, I would have to hold my nose. Thank you.
Thanks, Elaine.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Can we cue up the song Cult of Personality? Kidding. Yeah, Living Color. Today, no color, just gray skies, cloudy, cooler, a high of 52. Tomorrow looks like a gorgeous day. Sunshine, some clouds by the afternoon, but a beautiful day, a high of 55. Any beauty out on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, the traffic tensions are diminishing a bit as the delays dissipate this morning. Southbound Tri-State, it is still slow from Washington to Pasto Plain. There's a crash in the left lane, and it's slow as well around the Grand Avenue curve. Northbound, heavy from the Mile-Long Bridge to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Eisenhower to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway, just a little sluggish now, Roselle to Meacham. The other tollways are delay-free, but that ramp from southbound 355 to westbound I-80 still closed with an overturned tanker. Eden's inbound. Travel time from Lake Cook to Montrose, 23 minutes. Outbound, 23 as well. The Kennedy, 48 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound, 28. The Ike, 59 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound, 34. Stevenson, 56 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. Jim Talamonte, Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Hi, Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Payroll of America. We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. If you are like me and are listening to this station, chances are we hold some common values and truths we hold self-evident. That's the main reason Precision Payroll attracts great clients and great employees. Precision Payroll of America operates at the core with fundamental principles that drive our attitude and delivery of service. We work hard to provide the best in pricing and value. In addition, with our great team that has been with us a long time, you are ensured a lasting relationship with people who understand your needs and always stand ready to serve. What sets us apart is that we view what we do as a great opportunity to serve others in a professional and technical capacity while building long-lasting relationships. That's what we treasure. If this message hits home, please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507 or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
Did you know color is vital to your health? I'm talking about the color of the food you eat.
A colorful diet is a part of staying well because many nutrients are color. Eating a wide variety of fruits and vegetables provides your body with the diverse chemistry it needs to heal itself and stay well.
Now ask yourself, how many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Did you know March 19th is World Sleep Day, and to celebrate AM 560 The Answer is giving away one free MyPillow to 10 lucky winners. MyPillow, as you know, helps with snoring, headaches and neck pain, insomnia, allergies, and more. Plus, MyPillow is washable, and it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. It's American made. It's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. So visit the AM 560 mobile app right now and register for your chance to win a MyPillow.
I'm Dan Proft with an Upstream idea brought to you by the Illinois Opportunity Project. 27 Illinois state employees, on average, receive total compensation 27% higher than their private sector counterparts. State employees made nearly $4,000 more in wages and $13,000 in benefits than private sector employees. More than half of state workers will retire before the age of 60 with a guaranteed state pension. The state is in a financial death spiral with ground impact imminent, so keep this in mind as Governor Bruce Rauner breaks off contract talks with AFSCME, the state's largest public sector union. AFSCME has been unwilling to give on its demands for annual step increases of 3.8%, in addition to annual general wage increases. The lowball estimate of the cost of what AFSCME demands is $1.6 billion. That's $1.6 billion more from Illinois families who already pay the highest property taxes in the nation. This is Governor Rauner's moment of truth. He ran for office saying he is not a politician. He said he is a businessman who will make the difficult decisions to turn around the state he loves. We're about to find out if that's true. For more Upstream ideas, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, just a real quick political point. A alert constitutionally informed listener mentioned that there's nothing in the Constitution or Electoral College that actually prevents the president and vice president from being from the same state. This is what Pastor Raphael Cruz said. It was a bit of a misinterpretation of the 12th Amendment that he offered, but I didn't want to sidetrack the conversation.
Thank you so much, because I'm going to sidetrack this real quick because
I'm just setting the record straight.
The cast has been announced for Sharknado 4.
Yes.
All right. Cheryl Tiegs, she's back. Yeah. Gary Busey is going to play a main role.
Who plays the president and vice president?
They won't say yet. They're just kind of doing this in dribs and drabs. And then David Hasselhoff, Ryan Newman, they'll reprise their roles for the film. And, of course, Ian and Tara Reid will be there. But we're deciding whether or not Tara Reid lives or dies. Remember after Sharknado 3? Did you watch Sharknado 3?
In real life or just in Sharknado?
No, in Sharknado, you have to vote on Twitter, hashtag April lives or April dies. And
what about
we, the people, are going to determine whether or not Reed's character goes on.
Can we have all of them die? I mean, Sharknado's terrible, and I love it.
But it's so bad that it's good.
Well, here's the thing, too.
Mark Cuban and Ann Coulter, they were great.
Well, exactly. Sharknado 3, Mark Cuban and Ann Coulter.
Yeah.
After Donald Trump serves his 8 years as president, that will be the matchup in 2024. Mark Cuban versus Ann Coulter for president. It's idiocracy.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hello, my name is Barbara Walters, and although I'm not famous as the Barbara Walters that you're thinking of, I am indeed famous for something that has more value to you. Redefining the word easy with a mortgage from Ameritrust Mortgage. You've got my word, or my name isn't Barbara Walters. Our professional staff here actually underwrites, approves, and closes your loan for you, and not for just new loans. If your current mortgage rate is above 4%, you can get an automatic reduction, no qualifying, no appraisal on any FHA or VA loan. You literally just have to call us to find out what you'll save. We will take care of the rest. Find out why everyone talks to Ameritrust about their mortgage. Call Ameritrust Mortgage at 815-459-7303. That's 815-459-7303. Redefining the word easy with a mortgage from Ameritrust Mortgage.
Ameritrust Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee number 720. NMLS number 217229.
If you're in business, you know the importance of communications. Telephony and internet services can mean success and profits. Chicago-based Innovative Networks is a complete provider of high-tech voice and data services that allow your phones and data to efficiently follow you anywhere in the office or across the world. For companies of all sizes and industries, Innovative Networks provides state-of-the-art equipment, installation, and maintenance for a minimal monthly fee. Your company can enjoy the benefits of superior communications and greater profits. Innovative Networks is offering AM 560 listeners with a business this special deal. Ready? Pay $0 upfront plus up to 80% savings over major providers. For your free business communications consultation, call Innovative Networks, an accredited and award-winning Better Business Bureau service provider, at 855-GO4-INET, or visit go4inet.com. That number again, 855-GO4-INET. Innovative Networks, communication, technology, and reliability for Chicagoland business. The number 855-GO4-INET.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you, or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from